How's everybody doing tonight? Some struggle streaming already. Let's see, what is that? Hopefully everybody's having a good night. Oh, that's what I do. Okay, that's not bad. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. Kind of did this stream. What's up? How's everybody doing? What's up, Ty? You see it right there. Your car is sending data to your insurance brokers and snitching on you. So give me one in the chat if you can hear me. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. I am dragging. You know how we do it. If we got any tech or cybersecurity questions, drop them in the box. You see that cool diagram right there? We just touch on it while people still dropping in. Give me one in the chat if you can hear me. Appreciate you. Guillermo helping me out. I said I am struggling. So we get to it. I thought this was an interesting topic. So let's get started. So at a high level, we're gonna go over this a couple times. That's OnStar, communicating with the satellite, communication with the telecom towers. This is actually for a crash, right? It hits the OnStar headquarters, multiple headquarters around the planet. 7, it calls the ambulance to get you in a crash. Then the ambulance comes to get you. Yep, I did. I probably do a video on that. CrowdStrike, that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, CrowdStrike is just out of control. So many people already did. I probably do a root access calls, and just kind of walk through it. But yeah, that was crazy. I was surprised when the airports got taken out, to be honest, on that one. So we got to get onto it. But once again, OnStar, which a lot of people have, satellite sitting, it hits to the telecom towers, but also it tells how fast you're going, how much you break in, some other issues that it reports to your insurance. We look at a couple of videos. A young lady where the car actually made her insurance go up because they didn't realize it was tracking that much data on you. So once again, that's part of the infrastructure of OnStar right there. It has APIs, meaning people can write custom programs, and we're going to look at one that was keeping track of your braking, acceleration, how fast you were going. It was sold to a third-party broker that made insurance costs goes up. Advanced telemetrics, operating systems, atoms, service and delivery on-man data requests. So they were selling it to LexisNexis, and LexisNexis, of course, was selling it to the insurance brokers. LexisNexis is a third-party broker. So they keep a lot of things on your car, your credit, your business. So once again, it's selling that stuff and making money on it. And two is, of course, LexisNexis and AWS, one of my favorite things. So it shows you some raw files. We'll dig into this a little more. S3 bucket, Lambda loads it up in Glue, creates a data warehouse. Then the data warehouse gets sent to LexisNexis, rolled up, snitching on you, telling you what you're doing or not doing on there. Once again, if you got any tech questions, just put them in the chat. So I'm just kind of flowing. Let's see. Share something else. Let's see. Is that the one or is that the one? That's the one right there. Let's Let's see. Great. Hit this real quick. Let's see what's in the box. PBO, what's going on, Bidnator? It's gonna say same old, trying to survive. Like my man said, the crowd strike. Surviving something through the crowd strike. Let's see what my man here was. How do we configure software? We're talking about the Guillermo. Basically, you can opt out of LexisNexis, and this lady's gonna talk about it. I think you can opt out by calling OnStar, but LexisNexis, the third-party vendor that's selling your information, they actually got a class action lawsuit, Guillermo, and we're going to talk about that. So I think they stopped it for you. I think if you remove the SIM, I think you're going to mess up if you're in a car crash, though, Big Nate. If you're in a car crash, you want OnStar to call. So I think but we'll talk about it. I didn't mean to buy that. How did that go, Ty? We're gonna have to do I'm gonna have to reach out to you offline so we can talk about that, man. We have to talk about that. Good luck on that, man. Salute to my man XL Pro. So let's see how this young lady got caught up in the grind and it just snitched on her.
Your car could be spying on you, and at least one automaker is sharing that information with insurance companies. I'm George Estevez in for Justin Farmer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Stouffer. A Henry County woman learned it was happening to her when her insurance bills skyrocketed, and now she's warning others about the issue. New at 6, Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is live with how you can find out if your data has also been shared. Justin.
Yeah, Linda, Tanika Clay requested her LexisNexis consumer file. This is it. More than 200 pages, most of it from General Motors data.
That surprised me that it's that big. So that lets you know how much data your car is keeping track on. It was 200 pages of data on her, and we don't even know if they sent it off. It was a block of time. I was surprised with that. I guess that level of detail. You think it's a bit low? I think they got additional stuff. She just requested
her driving from the onboard computer in her car. So this is it.
This is it.
Hundreds of pages.
Hundreds of pages. This is my LexisNexis Consumer Disclosure Report. I'm appalled.
Hundreds of pages of data on Tanika Clay's LexisNexis credit report from her Chevy Camaro.
Connecting to OnStar.
She's learned the OnStar system is tracking things like acceleration events, high-speed events, and hard brake events. And GM shared 603 of those entries with data brokers.
OnStar app, you're thinking safety and if it gets stolen, but certainly not spying on me and sending information to the insurance companies.
It's the exact same scenario described in this proposed class action lawsuit filed just one day after Clay received her LexisNexis report this month. Clay requested the report because her insurance had gone up 80%, and when she tried to shop around...
That's crazy. That's the part that got me, man. Your insurance went up 80%. Come on, man. That should be illegal, man. But we're going to talk about it. A class action suit, LexisNexis and OnStar just snitching on, giving your privacy over. So that's crazy, 80%. And then when she went to check, no insurance will they picked her up. They wouldn't reduce her rate because she is a bad, risky driver. I wouldn't call her a bad.
An insurance broker sent a denial letter and suggested she check her LexisNexis records to see why.
All this means I'm a bad insurance risk and hike my premiums.
Your car's essentially turning into a computer and collecting data on you as you drive.
Michael Brooks is executive director of the Center for Auto Safety and says technology is ahead of the law here.
Right now, there are no federal laws requiring that automakers have privacy protections for their owners or cybersecurity protections on their vehicles.
So that was interesting. Once again, we have a lot of people here at cybersecurity, privacy, or just IT, and that happens a lot, right? It's ahead of federal laws, right? So they try which with any technology they trying to catch up, but that's crazy. It went up 80%.
After the lawsuit became public, GM announced it is severing ties with two data brokers, telling us in a statement, quote, As of March 20th, OnStar Smart Driver customer data is no longer being shared with LexisNexis or Versic. Customer trust is a priority for us, and we are actively evaluating our privacy processes and policies. Anyone can do what.
Shout out to OnStar. They were like, once they kind of figured out, they were like, oh, we need to kind of roll back on that. Because a lot of people probably would discontinue their service too. But shout out to OnStar for doing the right thing.
Request their LexisNexis Consumer Disclosure Report under the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Never did I imagine that it would be spying on us and sending information about driving habits. That's just unbelievable.
Now, we also reached out to LexisNexis, who tells us in a statement, quote, telematics-based insurance programs can be extremely valuable in helping consumers improve their driving and lower risk. We utilize various channels for consumers to request a copy of their LexisNexis Consumer Disclosure Report and to dispute any data on that report that the consumer feels is inaccurate. And it's not just GM sharing data. In fact, LexisNexis in a 2020 press release said that more than 10 million cars they're getting data from, and they have contracts with 5 of the 10 top insurance companies. Again, you can request a copy of your LexisNexis Consumer Report free of charge and see if your data is being collected. Reporting live in Midtown, Justin Gray, Channel 2 Action News.
He said 10 million people, man. So that lets you know privacy is crazy out there, man. So I don't know if y'all want to request your LexisNexis report to see what's going on with you. Shout out to Chaos Rain. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I will. Give me a second, Chaos. I will. Give me let me get about halfway. I'll definitely open it up. Volume's a bit low. I never signed up for something and didn't know. No, facts, man. But like you said, it sounded like if you were on OnStar worrying about the crash thing, it was snitching on you. But the facts. Honestly, they can do the same. Oh, facts. They're doing it on your phone, man. Of course, there are no federal laws with the corporation get paid. Now, facts. That's how they getting paid, man. So let's keep going. Then the other thing is I've actually had the OnStar privacy, and so we're going to kind of read through that and see what's going on there. So let's look at the other one. Ooh, once again, I am struggling today. Is that the same? Okay, I'm gonna close that one. Now we got the CNBC report, kind of on the same thing. Let's see what's going on with that. Then we'll discuss it.
We told you about earlier this month, a report in the New York Times about how auto companies sell data from connected cars to data brokers, who then in turn sell it to insurance companies that can use it to charge you higher premiums. I looked into the data privacy settings of my own car to try and disable possible outside monitoring, and I wasn't able to do it. I've been trying to do this since Monday.
So that was interesting because my man said he was trying to disable it. She said she could. So probably by the design. Let's see what Misty's saying. No federal laws. What's up? Glad you can join us. Facts. Let's keep going. This was pretty long, so we'll read a section and we'll go look at some other stuff and come back. But let's keep going, see what CNBC is talking about.
Every day there are more calls back and forth. It's really complicated. The dealership can't figure it out either. I've been on the phone with them every day. Our next guest wrote this story for the Times, and after her initial report, General Motors actually said that it had stopped sharing driving details with data brokers. Joining us right now is Kashmir Hill. She is the New York Times tech reporter and author of Your Face Belongs to Us. And Kashmir, I have to say, this story is one that really made me sit up and pay attention, because you talked to consumers who had either had their insurance rates jacked up because data was being collected they didn't know about, or in some cases they couldn't get insurance.
No, that's crazy. We just saw the lady. You drive so, I ain't gonna so bad, but I guess out of their parameters, you can't even get insurance, right? So now you blackballed. I guess if you can't even get insurance, you can work, but can you drive your car without insurance? Now, I grew up in the hood. I know a lot of dudes don't have insurance, but technically you're supposed to have insurance to be able to drive. Then, your car helps you get to work and do work. So that's crazy if you were blackballed and couldn't drive. So that's on a whole nother level.
What happened?
Yeah. Well, this was very shocking for drivers. I think most people assume when they spend a lot of money on this car, what happens in it is going to stay private. But what was happening to people who drove cars made by General Motors was that information was being collected about when they sped, how many miles they drove, how many times they hard braked or rapidly accelerated, because they had enrolled, some say unknowingly, in a program called Smart Driver. And yeah, it was very shocking to them. And they found
Snitch driver. They need to change the name of it. Snitch driver. Yeah, I was gonna look that up. Misty eyed. She wrote that article. Your face belonged to us. So yeah, I was gonna Google that. I might do a video. I don't even like how that sounds. So I was gonna look that up. Mama was bending corners and deny facts. You can't drive anymore. Shout out to Axel in my state. Shout out to him. She down going down 38th Street burning rubber. Fact. Oh, like you said, that is crazy. Let's keep going. Then we'll look at the privacy and come back.
about it because their insurance rates started going up. And when they asked the insurance companies why, they said, go pull your LexisNexis disclosure report. This is a data broker who works with insurance companies. And when they did that, they saw all this driving data, and the report said where it came from, and it was from General Motors.
Wow.
General Motors is just snitching on you, man. So I'm gonna drop the link if anybody want to come up. Shout out to Chaos Rain. Get him up here for a little bit. He be tired, so he probably get if he wants to come. If anybody wants to come up, we can go through this. So I'm a pause it there. Let's look at OnStar's privacy. And I was kind of I wasn't shocked, but they were collecting a lot more privacy than I actually thought would come out of a car, I guess. So let's peek at that. Make that a little bigger. For the old people, which is me, let's see if that's bigger. So let's look a little bit at see what they're collecting. So one of the things I do and used to do is read through privacy reports to see if there's any issues with them. So let's check it out and see if we see anything with it. General Motors privacy, you see it at the top. OnStar and its affiliates, collective GM or we. Key points about our information collection. We may collect information about you and your accounts with us, such as your name, address. When you connected vehicle products and services, we may collect information about your vehicle, including diagnostic use and vehicle location. All right. We may use information to improve the quality, safety, and security of our products, to develop new products. And to snitch on you, sharing. We may share your information with products and others. Choices, your obligation. Given the nature of our products, there may be times when someone other than you is using one of your products and services we provide to you. For example, letting someone else drive your car. We will rely on you to inform such persons about this privacy statement and privacy choices. So you need to be telling your homies don't be speeding in your car, all right? We know they're cookies and tracking so they can track you. This is the one, third-party products and services. So that's it. Security measures. We maintain reasonable and adequate security controls and protect your information, and requires our service providers by contract to do the same. Like you said, what does that look like? We might look at that particular one. So we're just going to hit the highlights. Information we may collect. This one jumped out to me. Your credit card, your CV code, and your expiration date. So to pay your OnStar, they keep the CV. So if somebody hacks their system, they got your name, postal address, telephone number, date of birth, email address, screen name, account name, credit card, CV number, GM rewards. That's way too much info. Well, I mean, they're collected to a third party. for me, from a privacy standpoint, from what they're doing, that's way too much. They could anonymize it where they couldn't link it back to you, but of course they're selling your data, so they want to link it back to you. Information about your vehicle, your plate number, VIN, mileage, oil and battery, fuel, charging history, electronic systems, gear. So if you don't get oil changes regularly, they probably know that, right? Information about the use of your vehicles, GPS location, speed, airbags, crash avoidance, impact data, information about your device and how you interact with your products, such as IP address, browser type, device identifier, cookie data, so mobile phone, laptop, and other devices. So they're collecting a ton of information on you. From a cybersecurity old guy, that's way too much information. Right. So, and we're going to look back at it. She couldn't figure out how to opt out of it. That was the crazy part. She called them and they couldn't figure out how to opt out of it. So once you in there, man. It's like the mob. Once you get in, you can't get out. Anybody else, entire city roads under construction right now, like Indy? Because that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Indy is all under construction, creating facts, way too much info. So let's keep perusing it. We ain't gonna get too. We may use your information, and we may use your information in order to provide our products and programs and services, improve quality, maintain customer relationship, and administrate your account for research and evaluation. This is where collecting outstanding debts for products and services, provide products and services. So they see if you like that one, they can sell you other products. So that's always interesting. What's up?
Hey, what's good, man? How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. A little tired tonight. What's going on?
All right. Yeah. So it look like insurance are finding more ways to take more money out of out of the American citizens. Because I mean, they made the rule for the last 30-some years that you need insurance to drive.
Yeah.
That was intentional because they're trying to make money off you. You get me?
Yeah, but too, they could say to me, because she's a mature woman, she ain't driving 60 down the highway. She might get that discount, man. She's trying to get the discount, right? So they might try to give you a discount on the back.
Yeah, they're the biz. They're in business make money. They're not really about discount or nothing because they rack up billions of dollars annually, yearly. I think out of all business, in business insurance, that's guaranteed money right there.
That's it. Hold on, Chaos. Let me get my homie. Everybody go join Women in Linux, doing great work out there. How you doing? I ain't seen you in a while. I think that's on me, not you. How are you doing tonight, Tamika?
I'm awesome. How you doing?
I'm trying to make it old and tired, but I can't complain.
I hear that. I'm just up here. Just finished one on the Earners show, talking about where the money is at.
Yeah, I need to get on over there and give me some money, man. It's hard out here. I need to get up there and get it.
It's hard out here, man. It's looking really nice. I don't know if you looked at these budgets for 2025 and 2026.
Yeah, I need to get over there, man. It depends. Some companies are cutting and laying off, and some are hiring. So
you gotta be strategic, man. I just looked at the budget for the Social Security Administration, the Department of Energy, also the Department of Treasury. A lot of people don't go look at jobs at the Department of Treasury and what the jobs are under that. And on top of a the Department of Treasury, even when you go in to look at the budgets, you can look at what falls under the Department of Treasury. There's so much stuff that falls under the Department of Treasury, and people don't even think about it.
The funny you mentioned that, I used to do a lot of IRS work. IRS is on the Department of Treasury, so it's funny you mentioned that. So
yep. And the Social Security Administration, I was looking at their stuff. They requesting $22 billion.
Well, a lot of them got them legacy systems. Everybody trying to update, get to the cloud. Figure out what cloud. And I know you on the open shift, and so everybody's. Because I know a lot of states is trying to get their IRS systems to the cloud, and it's just brutal because that legacy debt. I mean, that technical debt. So they trying to get modernized. I hate that word. Modernization is in a lot of the federal budgets is even actually saying that now. So they're trying to get to that. So
Yep.
you
Yep.
want
I
to
see.
go
I
ahead,
see
go.
you sitting here talking about the cards and so forth.
Yeah.
But what year
Mm.
are we talking though?
I think
That these
those.
cars are sending? Are we talking 2018 and above?
Yeah, I think it's like 2017, 2018. I'm gonna read another article because they talking about the
Usually, it's
loss.
the cars with the most tech supposed to have their monitoring. If you have it on your app and you refuse to, they're gonna check it anyway. Because most of these cars are computerized for a long time. I think after around 2000 is, I would say 2005 and up, that they're very heavily computerized. So they will find ways to get that money and find how you are as a driver to get that information.
Yeah, I'm gonna read an article, but they got a class action lawsuit. OnStar said they're gonna stop selling their data, I guess, because people suing them because
Well, we already knew OnStar were selling their data, right?
yeah, you did. A lot of other people didn't know. I don't know if you
Yep.
saw the young lady. She got her insurance claim and it went up 80%.
So how much she's paying for insurance?
They didn't say. They just said it went up 80%. Then she requested her. I guess you can request your LexisNexis car report. I think they said it was 200 pages, and they show her speeding and stopping and slamming on her brakes. So then she called another insurance company. They said, "No, your rates are high. Look at your report." So I guess all the insurance was looking at their report, jacking her rates up.
I mean, they still doing credit checks for insurance, so
Yeah, 100%.
my credit got to do with my driving, but okay.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Well, I think we're gonna get that China right. We're gonna get that good citizen report, and what you doing is all gonna add up, right? That's what they do in China. They had a good citizen report, so I think that's where we're gonna end up.
Well, it good luck for them to pull off in America. America ain't gonna accept that crap. That's why you see a lot of age people leave China. They don't want that deal with that type of system.
Oh yeah, they was fleeing China left and right. Still is.
Yeah, but realistically, we doing it now, like because just like Tim said, is to go get a bank account report. They pulling your credit, they pulling your, your what you paying on time. So that's just a baby step to get to there. All right. So if you got bad credit, then you hurt, man. Everything is higher. Your credit percentage is higher. Your bank loan percentage is higher.
Well, yeah. So basically, what they're telling you is, if you want to be a part of this world, you're gonna have to pay to play. Right? You got to pay extra to even get an account or get a loan. You got to pay extra for it. We don't. There's no trust, right? Basically, they're saying we don't trust you. We know you're gonna skedaddle, so we don't trust you.
Well, because like it's a divide, and you always kind of mention that to me. 'Cause, like, if you at 100 or below, man, we're almost a second class citizen now. Because I'm still amazed. Shout out to the millennials and the Z's. Man, they paying $2,200 for rent. I'm like, dude, that's more than my mortgage and shit. That's more than my whole damn mortgage and shit.
Mortgage.
So,
and man, see, you might as well get a house.
Man, but if your credit messed up, you can't get it.
You gotta pay to play. That's what I'm saying. And it's been like that for a while. I mean, really, to be honest, it's been like that since 2010, 2011. It's just that the jobs it wasn't as widespread as it is now. Like, and when I say widespread, like even trying to move to Atlanta in Midtown, just looking for an apartment at 1500, there was no apartments at 1500. The cheapest you was gonna get was 2300, 2300.
That's
right?
why I'm not. That's why I'm not coming to Atlanta. But keep going to me. That's why I'm not. I'm staying in Indiana with the cornfields. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was trying to take a position to work at the CDC at the time, right? So the guy was like, "Hey, we'll give you 200." I negotiated him up to 210. He wouldn't give me the extra 10,000, right? And when I was negotiating, he was like, "Well, why are you needing so much?" Well, I was like, "Well, there's two things. If it don't work out, I still want to keep my house in Florida. So I still want to keep my house in Florida, and I still want to be able to afford to live where I'm close to the CDC in Georgia. I don't want to travel 45 minutes. I don't want to sit in traffic an hour and a half just to try to get back and forth to work. That defeats the purpose. And at the time where
Okay.
I was working at, I was only 9 minutes from my job. So
Yeah.
why would I want to go to a place where I got to travel an hour for work when I can go and travel 9 minutes to work?
9 minutes. Yeah, you save gas and time, and you have to worry
Right.
about getting your butt up at a certain time. You just get up, fresh up, dress, go.
No.
You're out the
Go
door.
out the
Yeah.
door.
Out
Yeah,
the door.
I did a
Yeah.
little opposite. I took a little less money so I can work remote. I
And
don't
I'm okay with that. And I was just talking about this too. It's okay because I'm you know, me, I'm in my head. I got retirement in my head and what that could look like.
yeah.
But me, I'm like, okay, following what the rule of 55 is, most people who retire at 55 really don't stop working, right?
No, you're supposed to
So,
work. Yeah,
but you still gonna work. You just got an
absolutely.
early retirement, but it may be an early retirement from like the rigorous and so forth.
Right.
So now the question is, what do you do with your set of skills and then move to a job that still pays you at a respectable rate? You don't want to be
Mhm.
disrespected, right? You,
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna go from making 225, 250, 300,000 to saying, you know what, I'm cool with 75. You're just not gonna do that.
Right. No.
You're just not.
So can I ask you a personal question? What would be if it has to go down? What less, not for yourself, but in general, would take if you're making two? What would be the minimum?
I say stay above 100.
Perfect. All right, that's fine. That's reasonable. That's actually reasonable. That's
Right.
actually fair.
And the reason why I say stay above 100 because they're, for me, just looking across the
Your
landscape.
experience, and actually, that is actually fair.
Right, but there's a plethora of jobs between 100 to 150.
Mm-hmm.
So if you set yourself up just right between 100 to 150, you good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you already retired from one job and following the rule of 55, you can dip into your 401k 4 years early without penalty. So now you still got some income coming in, but at the same token, you still can go back out and utilize your skills and do what you want to do. So what does that look like for you to bounce around and move in that circle? So again, keeping your skills the same, staying between that 100 to 150, you still good. And you still not, you're not sitting up here like, oh, I gotta wait till the next check before I can pay that bill. You don't have to do
But
that.
yeah, but let's be clear. You know, we in the tech, so that it's not like we out there moving bricks, right? So it's a little different.
I might use the robot to move bricks.
Nah, facts. They coming, man. They coming. So.
Goddamn.
But too, like tech, that's the cool thing about tech. You know, you just typing on keyboards. I can do that till I'm 75, man. Right? So
Well, that's my point. What skill can you do and acquire that would last you 10, 15, 20 years, where it's just second nature to you? And what does that look like, right? And so we just have to be more strategic about these things. Like this right here, as far as the insurance goes, of course somebody created that so it could send to a third party. But now somebody is gonna make an app, or is gonna say, hey, I could disable that for you, but it's gonna cost you this. Trust me, somebody's gonna, if they have not already done that.
No, that's fine. Hold on, let me get Equalizer here. What's up, Equalizer, aka number 2? How you doing tonight?
I'm well. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, you crystal clear. You can chime in.
Perfect. No, I mean I'm liking this conversation. You know, grown folk talk, especially with what's going on in the economy, generally speaking.
That's awesome.
What's going on, Chaos?
Oh, that's good.
I mean, I definitely agree. Again, finance, generally speaking, is most people don't really understand finance, unfortunately. And what's worse is even people who are even in finance, believe it or not, I would wager the majority, at least in my experience, they really don't understand how finance works, or they don't have a broad understanding. So, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to credit, and as the young lady was explaining, I mean, the way how things are now, everything really is tied to your credit. So if you aren't taught as a child how credit really works and how it benefits you, I mean, you're pretty much going to be behind the 8 ball. So as what we're experiencing right now with the rise of unemployment, and a lot of people are taking money out of their 401ks, and credit card expenses are going through the roof, that means, a lot of people are going to be, in my opinion, most people are just not going to recover after this cycle. And that's not even included the inflation that's going on right now, which personally I think is going to be around for a while. But in terms of insurance and retirement, man, this is why I tell guys in the space, I say, man, I just make it real simple for them, man. If you can't save half, it's just going to be, your retirement is it's not impossible. It's just you can't beat math. And this is why a lot of people give, complicated, equations for retirement, because they don't want to tell you the truth that you just don't make enough money, because then they can't get a sale. They can't get commissions. They won't have a job. Well, at least in certain, industries. But at the end of the day, one of the surest ways to retire is to save half. End of story. You do that for 17 to 20 consecutive years, you will have a decent nut to retire off of. Because again, what you're retiring off of is the principal, and you're trying not to draw down on your principal, right? So you need a lot of money. And this is where people in insurance, the people in, financial advisory, they come in and they say compound interest. And I always tell people, you only have to ask them one question. What is the amount of, how much do I need where compound interest actually starts to take effect? How much is that? I guarantee you 95% of them don't know the answer. It's about 2.4 mil.
Oh, shit.
Yes. That's when compound interest gets interesting. This is why they give you guys, they give us the numbers. Well, you got to put your money in your 401k. It's 40 plus. Now it's 40 plus years. Before it was 40 years. Now it's 40 plus years, and good luck. Remember, they're giving you perfect case scenario. Those equations do not equate for any kind of, recessions. Does not equate for any drawdowns of those accounts. Does not equate for if you get laid off of it, or if you get fired, or if you get sick, you don't work. So those are perfect case scenarios. And the boomers, for the most part, financially have had it the best, right? Their retirements are $62,000 to about $250,000. That's it. Think about that. And I just told you need about 2.4 million where compound interest really starts to get interesting. Once you get to 5.2, then it's gravy at that point.
But then I'm gonna add to that, right? So one of the big things is being strategic about where you go and work at. And I talk about this on my show. And when I say that, a lot of people don't understand. I don't care nothing about your 3%, 4% match. That don't excite me.
Mm-hmm.
What I care about is these companies out here that automatically are putting 10, 15, 25% into your 401k without you doing nothing. And I'm not talking about a match. I'm talking about you show up to work, they look at your total comp, they put 10% in there, they put 15% in there, they're putting 25%, whatever, automatically into your 401k. And then you put your money on top of that. So that changes the game, because now when you do that, we're talking about in your first year for 2024 between employer and employee, 69,000 go into that. If you in the year where you're 50 and turning 50 and over, that goes up another 7,500. So now you're talking. So now you're talking in your first year. In your first year of your job, you could be at 70,000 plus in your 401k. Most people don't get that in their first year.
Well, exactly. Now, and again, and this is another thing that why I tell guys, you need to, at least before all this crazy inflation, this is why I would say you need to be a top 10% income earner. Because most people, when people are talking, even the government, they're always talking about, they either talk about household income and or nominal, basically gross income. But remember, what are you paying your bills? What are you living off of? Are you living off of your gross, or are you living off of your net?
Almost definitely net. But here's a question.
Exactly.
I had this debate all the time. So we're gonna it's getting ready to get rough. What is considered top 10%? I have my number, but you tell me your number.
I base it off of national first, and then it depends on your local MSA, and then obviously your county. So it varies. Now the numbers have changed since last year. I mean, I'm in finance, so like I'm like up to par with the numbers. So the top 10% used to be, let's say before 2020, before the inflation, it was about 152-ish, 147 to 152-ish. Now it's like, it's sad to say, it's like 4. I think it's up to like 450 now. It's crazy. Nationally.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because people debate me all the time and try to tell me that 100,000 or 150,000 is the top 10%. I'm like, I don't know what numbers y'all looking at. I don't know what numbers y'all looking at, but I look at numbers daily. I just did a show, and the article said that most Americans feel comfortable if they're at $186,000.
Correct.
Now, peep game, in that same article, for Black people, it said in order for me to feel comfortable, it was $250,000.
Yes. Yeah.
It was for me to feel comfortable. It was 250. We had the most. We were out there at the most, and I get it, but it's just funny how most people are like 186. We're like at 250.
Well, the sad part is, remember that $100,000, because again, people don't understand finance, and 2, people just regurgitate stuff. So they're stuck in the early 90s.
Let me chime in on that. Me and Tam used to go back and forth. And both of y'all right, but I think what happened is, because I'm old, is it took us so long to get to 100,000. We feel like you disrespecting us when you say that. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, you know what it is? It's I get it, man. I get it, but you know what it is? It's the silent tax called inflation, right?
No, facts.
So that's the issue. So 100,000. This is the thing. This is what people don't see. The 100,000 in 1990, the equivalent is like 40,000 now. That's what people don't get. No. So really, the new 100,000 is pretty much like damn near $250,000, 225 basically. That's what people don't see.
Yeah, the other thing, hold on, I'm apologizing to my audience, because we went from tech to finance, which I'm cool with. We're gonna keep it.
Yeah, we gonna my bad.
No, you good.
We can go back.
No, let's keep going. I'm tired. I like where we at. I just want to know we're gonna file this somewhere different. But now let's keep going. It's a good conversation, because people get into tech to make money, right? So I love tech, but I like to be fat and make money. So let's keep going. Keep going, Equalizer.
Yes.
Because me and Tam been discussing it. We had some. I always respect Tam. I ain't gonna never disrespect Tam. But we had that 100,000. I was kind of holding on that to a little bit. But 2 for me is, since my house is paid off, and so I don't have those inflationary bills like the young people. So my 100 still feels like 100. But keep going on that. So I think that's kind of where some of the little, not disagreement, but I was a little off on that. So,
but where the other thing is where you live. You see,
I'm in Indiana too, which is a cornfield, so that's a little different.
There you go.
I mean, you know what? I hear y'all on where you live, man. I just don't buy it. I'm gonna tell you why I don't buy it.
Okay.
The reason why I don't buy it is, and this is just for me, just living across the United States, is I have my own goal. I got my own financial goal. I don't care if I'm living in Silverdale, Washington. I don't care if I'm living in Pocatello, Idaho, or in West Virginia. My financial goal and what my worth is not determined by my city. So you're going to pay me accordingly. And listen, that's just me. Everybody don't have that attitude.
I mean, that's respect. That's respect.
But my worth isn't tied to the city that I live in.
Well, for me, when I talk about the finances, I'm not. For me, I'm not talking about your personal worth, right? I'm just talking about what the wage is in that area because
and that's what I'm saying. I don't
because
care.
because like okay, so where you live, what is the median income? I mean, excuse me, what is the median home price recent that you're aware of?
So the house
Median.
across the street, the house across the street from me sold for $650.
Okay,
So
so it's 650 where you are. Do you know what the median is where I am? It's more than double.
right.
It's almost 1.5. So this is why the income matters because when HR they know all these numbers, man. Like they like pay scale, like they go across the country. It's all equaled out. So if I would have a higher income if we had the same job, I would have a higher nominal number, but it would basically be the same compared to you if we had the same position, same tenure, blah 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 blah, but just our location. But people would say, "Oh, well, Sal makes more than you, so he's supposed to." No, what's really happening? We technically make the same amount because our cost of living is just adjusted for cost of living. That's what people don't get.
Oh no, I get the cost of living. I just don't care.
Oh.
No, really, I don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because I put time and effort to build myself up for my skills. I take time and effort to study the market. I take time and effort, and I'm strategic about the company I'm going to work for and who I'm applying for. So just because I live in, say, Augusta, Georgia, you're not gonna pay me like I live in Augusta, Georgia. You're gonna pay me like my resume and my skills say I'm worth.
Okay.
And until we get that attitude, we're gonna always get the low ball. Just my opinion.
Tim, I got your channel up.
Right.
Shout out your channel. I got your channel on the thing.
Oh yeah. Check us out every Wednesday. We do our meetups. That's on meetup.com. But every Friday, Saturday, Monday, you can shop. You can come check us out. Women in Linux. I talk about everything that I'm talking about here. I talk about that. I've shown my pet chat stubs. I have shown pretty much everything. I just talk about how we have to be strategic and position ourselves because we shouldn't have to have the conversation to say, hey, you're worth 100,000. We should be having a conversation like, oh, yo, you turned down that job that was 150, or you went with the job that was 250. We should be having that conversation.
Yeah,
definitely.
What's your take on that other chat? My man, Axel, he in my state, 317. How good you got to be to make 100 in Linux? I don't even know how to answer that. To be
Easy. You need to go study and get your RHCSA. Once you get that, get your RHCE, and then understand DevSecOps. For me, this is just my lane.
Yes.
Understanding DevSecOps, understanding site reliability engineering. In those areas, there's no way you cannot not make 100,000. And I'm only, telling you that for someone that followed my plan. I laid the path out for her. She started out working one job and she was making probably about 60 or 70. In a year and a half, she's damn near triple her income. So you could do it, but you got to be strategic. You got to study. You got to follow the blueprint. I have a whole blueprint. I lay it out, and you follow that, you'll be winning. That's just simple as that.
Well, I subscribe to your channel, so I probably, if you have email, I'll hit you up.
Are you the female Theo? Do you know who Theo is? Theo Webb?
I know who that is.
I know who that is.
I tell you what, she is.
That's what she sounds like.
She's a field of keep it techie. She know what keep it techie is.
Okay.
Everybody knows
Yeah. Keep it techie. Kelsey Hightower. I've been on pretty much everybody's shows, talks and whatnot, but I'm only doing what I know works, right? These are things that I know work. I know what has failed me. I tell you what failed me. You can give it a shot if you want to, but I know that didn't work. So I only tell you things that I have done and things that I know work.
Absolutely.
Okay. Like I said, I follow your YouTube channel. If you have an email, I'll email you for it.
Okay.
Yep, it's on the YouTube channel.
I ain't letting y'all back up ever again. No, I'm just playing.
Hey man, if you want to talk about
No,
security, we can talk about that.
no.
But listen though,
I
I
got
got one
700.
for you.
I got 700 videos of security, Tim. We good.
No, listen, I do have one for you though, right?
Yeah.
One of the things you should go and research and do is like everyone puts in their information into their navigation in their car, right? And then they'll save it or whatnot. But you know, that stuff never gets deleted. Even when they say they erase it, it's still there.
Of course.
So that will be a good show to talk about. They actually did that at one of the B-sides conferences with a girl. Actually, she went to a junkyard. She got the infotainment system from different cars from a junkyard, brought it in, hacked it, and then put it up and showed you like, hey, here's where the people live at. here's their home address, right? You know, phone numbers, people they have called and all of that. And it's so ironic. Like I can go into like I'll go test drive different cars and I'll purposely go through the infotainment system and I'll see phone numbers and stuff like that. And I call them. I call the people. I actually call them. I'm like, hey, did you own this car right here? It's up here at the dealership. They was like, well, yes. I said, well, your stuff didn't get erased. I'm just letting you know. I can go through and see who you last called and everything. I say, so you might want to call them and tell them to erase your stuff or what have you, because your stuff's still in here.
No, you right with that. I mean, you know, Google keeping track of that. The infotainment keeping track of it.
Well,
OnStar snitching on you, so it's a lot of.
We had to be clear. And I remember there was a broadcast, and I'll mention to sis my email you, that all this data, even when I had my hard drive messed up and I try to record because I have music on there, and it cost some money, and it never hit me why. And I asked the IT dude, where I was at, why, and it said it is like gold. Data is gold. So everything they gather is a form of currency to these corporations. You get me? The more they know, the better they could start selling you on the open market, sell you weird advertisement, especially with using Google. And there's another scenario that's even discussed by some of these people that are in tech, and they talk about Linux, about the issues now with Microsoft, that now they're getting too much information to the point now that you can't do nothing being private. So now we look at Linux as the base said. Some people, if they're not understanding Linux now, you better learn something if you want any security of your information while still somewhat in a way.
This is why there a lot of these companies are hiring, you know, these data scientists for this reason. Because I've been watching this. I mean, my first year in college, I was going for computer science, but I mean, this is like 2001. Then I went into finance, so you know, I'm nowhere near what I was that long ago. But you know, I started seeing that everything was basically becoming an algorithm for the most part. It's all numbers based now for the most part. So as I heard, when I you know logged on, I heard her saying that you know to paraphrase, basically you know you're basically it's a pay to play system. So in other words, you're a statistic. So if you don't understand the game, man, like I don't care what you try to do, you're just not gonna get it. You're not gonna go ahead, man. So you know, I mean, personally, like you know, back in that time, because I had my second car, I already knew what they were trying to do. Because they asked me if I wanted to have at that time, you know, you would plug the I think something into your car, and I was like, hell no, because I knew, especially at that time, I know my man. I live in the city. I know they're gonna kill me with insurance. It doesn't matter how good I drive. But that's how the game's being played. And now obviously they're adding credit scores, all this other stuff, man. So people gotta be on top of all this stuff, man. And obviously going into tech, you gotta, you know.
Yeah. Well, not only that, just don't think for 1 second they're not checking out your social media feeds either.
No. Oh yeah, they're looking at everything.
Oh, I keep all my stuff private. It's all private. When I say private, the only thing that's public of mine is LinkedIn, and I really don't do anything on there, like barely anything.
We just gonna give you the default charge anyway, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I don't see, but that's why I know better. I know to stay in a richer area. Like I know the game. I learned it when I was really really young because when I first got my car, clean record, all this other stuff. But again, I was a male, so I was paying $225 a month. So this is like 1999 or 2000. And the broker told me flat out, he said if you live 4 blocks away, you would have been into the next city, and your rate would have been X, Y, and Z. That was the one clue. Then I moved to Stamford, Connecticut, and I realized one of my roommates was in the insurance industry, and she was telling us, she was like, "Listen, it's also based off of obviously crime rate and density where you live." So now I'm like, okay, so I gotta live in a richer area so I don't get murked with taxes, and it's true. Unfortunately, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
And let me guess, is that Richard Era not black?
Of course.
Well,
Of course.
what do you want from me? I'm not running away. I'm running away from race, not from black folks.
I'm just pointing out like the things that we have to do in order to get the lifestyle and the quality that we want, right?
That's
crazy. One of the things I probably do is, which still is digital redlining still out there, right? Depending on your area, digital, we can really track your location about where you at. So where you at tells you what you're gonna pay on insurance, rates, costs, all that stuff is linked to that, right? So that's kind of the bad part about tech. It's just a different game, and it's easier to track you.
All right, let's stay on the same.
I'm wondering, Lennox, before we continue. I look at your email. It does your email accept Gmail? Because I know it's not Gmail. It says some regular email. If I send it, I got Gmail. So if I
women at womenandlinux.com.
Okay, all right. So
yeah. So staying on that same topic, right? When we're talking about where you live and quality of life and so forth, right? So do you think car providers, or should I say insurance folks, look at the type of car you buy as a black person and pay and charge you based on that, right?
Yeah.
So say you're black. So say you're black and you go buy a 2023 or 2024 Mercedes AMG.
Oh man!
Listen.
Come on.
Listen. Work with me now. Black guy, same credit score. White man, same credit score. Same everything. Live in the same area. Do you think their rates are the same?
Hell no.
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 Okay.
No. They tell you they're the same, but they're not going to be the same.
I know better.
Even if they say, well, we take them and we roll them up, to take that out. But no, we know what that game is. So the sad part about it is I've just accepted over my years. I got other stuff to worry about.
The black tax.
Yeah, I'm
no. I read a book. I got a book on it. They talk in detail about tax by Sean Rochester.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's consistent, right? So, and two is, we touched on it, and I know me and Tim talked about that. When you're in tech and you're the only one, right? You got microaggressions and all other things. Sometimes that's a whole nother different ball game. This young black guy had a remote. I did a video on remote work, and he had in the comments that touched my heart. He said he will never go back into the office to get rid of the microaggressions because it was tearing his soul apart. That touched my soul when he said that, because I know exactly what he was talking about, right? So.
Yeah, it's the same in finance, especially the higher up you go. It's because you're in their opinion, they're more based off of a positional leadership. So it's, in my opinion, it's not real leadership. So I would go through it a lot until I would have to shut it down. Like, I would look at them like, one, I look younger than I am, so that's one problem. Then I'm black.
Fact.
So then every once in a while, I would just cut them to shreds, knowing more than what they did on a particular subject. So it's like, oh, you're a this exec or whatever, and you think you know more. And I knew you were wrong, but I wasn't saying anything until you was having an attitude for no reason. So now I'm embarrassed your ass. Well, obviously, one-on-one, not in front of other people, but I'm embarrassed your ass, so you know that I'm not just one of these in here that doesn't know what's going on. No, I know what's going on. I just mind my business. That's about it. But it's annoying. It's annoying because we typically just want to go to work, get paid, and go home. Like that's it. That's what most black folk want to do. We're not up in corporate or in these companies trying to play all these games, man. We're trying to get in and get the F out.
All right, PBO, I got a question for you. Being in security, right?
Yeah.
I know what it's like for me, but what is it like for you being the only black person walking in to be the problem solver? What was your original thought process when you first walked in, and what's your thought process now? You've been in the game for a minute.
Yeah, when I was younger, I think, like he said, because of my age, I think I got a lot more pushback. People want to test me to make sure I know what I know. Now I've got the backing of management because I've been around a lot. So they gave me the blessing and the anointment. So now when I go in, I have a lot less problems. But I'm looking for my man B2B. But like he said, I can match your energy if you want to go there. I'm about this life. So if you want to ratchet up, I have no problem. But now with my age, I have a lot. Two people know me around more. My YouTube channel, I have a lot of people who know me. Which my YouTube channel is a lot smaller than yours, so I have less issues, right? But I think you bring that up a lot. That's why you got to work on your craft. That's why you got to get your certs. So because people are going to try you in this industry, especially in security. Do you belong in this room? Are you worthy to belong into this room?
Oh, because he black? That's what they
100%. Two is sometimes they're assholes, so they treat everybody like asshole. Yeah. But sometimes when you're the only one, maybe I'm projecting, maybe I'm not. But I'm gonna meet your energy because I'm about this life, right? So, yes. So like I said, I have less problem. Shout out to B2B because we were talking about matching energies, and Gabe said, he took it a little. He said it a little softer because of his management. I'm like, nah, I'm trying to punch you in your throat because I'm setting precedent. I work with DOD with military guys, so I'm coming in punching you right in your mouth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm gonna let you know how smart I am. So that's kind of how I would take mine. Now, I'm not saying that's the best way, and as you know, to me, as you mature, you just kind of figure out what's best for you in this world, and you just live with it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
But for me, and in the position that I'm in now, I started out when I took the job as a platform lead, right? And then they just shot me a text and said, "Hey, you want to be the solutions architect?" I said, "Sure." So I moved to the solutions architect, and now I also have an infrastructure team. So I got 3 different positions that I work in every single day. So I'm always switching lanes every single day. But not only that, with that is nothing but men of all flavors. All flavors, right?
Yeah,
from military to civilian to millennial to Gen Z to Gen X to boomers, right? And so you have to go in with like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. I know you have the capability. Here's my expectation on when I think you should get that done. Does that match up? Does this what you have to do match up with that time frame? Okay, now let's go get it done. And that's how I treat people. I treat people with the respect of, I know you can do the work. If you can't do the work, tell me where you can't do the work, and then let's get that problem solved. Come to me with solutions, not problems.
Okay,
that's reasonable. I tell people, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with a problem and some multiple solutions to that problem. Let's analyze what's going to be the situation in which we're going to go down, and then keep it moving. Other than that, you come to me with a problem, don't help me. Help me. Right. I need for you to enable your solution skills, your management skills, for us to keep moving forward.
In other words, you're not gonna be my problem.
No, you're not gonna be my problem. You're not gonna throw it over the fence.
Yeah, the weird thing that to me, because right now my boss was like that. He was a white male. I'm an interviewing cool, but I always gave other people too much credit. Like I would come up with these solutions. I'm like, well, it's not performing. It's not working at the, or I kind of cobbled together. I was surprised by how many people couldn't come up with a solution at all. So even if I would cobble something together, he loved drawing on my stuff. He's like, I like this, move that from this to the database. So like Tamika said, come up with a solution, then at least you can discuss it. It didn't perform quite well, or something wasn't quite right, or I was like, I got everything working, because then like you said, you bring in something to the table to at least talk about, right? And I was amazed by how many people couldn't do that. Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. Can you explain why? What was it? Crowd strike or whatever there. Why did they release that patch or update without testing it? Like, I don't understand.
I think I'll take first. I think they tested it. I think they got comfortable. I don't think they gave it the full attention it needed, because, and I shoot Tamika, you get comfortable and you done had 100 straight deployments with no issue. Then somebody's like, oh yeah, we good. We done tested everything. And two is, shout out to Microsoft. And I'll let Tamika chime in. Most of their stuff is backwards compatible to 1995. So if you don't have all your test cases in order, they be rolling stuff back 15 years from now. So so that's kind of my thought on it. I just thought they got complacent.
Okay.
Well, the question is, and this is something I talk about all the time. Did they have any automated testing? Right. So if I push this out, does it go through my pipeline? And is there an automated test that is
$1
actually out
billion company, Tamika? I'm
there?
sure they had a few. Go ahead.
They couldn't have, because if they would have had an automated test, they would have known that was going to hit.
I think like Axel said, he thought they hit a null condition where maybe, I think they had automated tests, but it wasn't full coverage. But I don't know, to be.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't full coverage. They didn't think about every scenario, and I agree. And I agree that you can't think about every scenario. But now let's talk about how quickly did they recover.
They're still going through it right now.
Yeah, not everybody though.
Yeah, they got a lot of
airlines are up and back and running.
Facts.
Right. I was at Georgia Tech earlier today, and they still had some blue screen of death.
But what they running though? That's my thing. I think I guess is Georgia Tech up to date, or are they running some old software that got the blue screen of death? But I don't know. Like you said, go ahead, Tamika. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah, before the bench, go ahead, and I'll chime in behind you.
Yeah, I think that it also could be that maybe their sample size was smaller than what they were expecting, because they impacted a global scale. It's kind of hard to test that kind of thing, because I remember in some instances where we had tested something and everything ran fine, but then when it went into production, the pure size of what was impacted caused errors with new deployments. And actually, perfect example, like specifically with CloudStrike, because they impacted other countries and all these different industries. I had a project one time where we had to deploy this. It was a very small fix to one of our pipelines, and we had to deploy it out in batches for like millions of different rows. And I was like, okay, and test it worked fine. We did like 1 million rows, and everything went well within like one day. But because we had like 100 million rows to impact, it ended up making the pipeline take several weeks for it to be able to finish. But we had other things coming up at that same time. So I think that's also one of the things they may have ran into, is just the pure size of the amount of roles that was impacted.
But this wasn't their first change before the billions. They should have known that. They should know their client base. They're a $1 billion company.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
said it was only like a 40. It was like a 40 megabyte file or something like that. That they said that they made a change on. It wasn't even a big file.
That's why I thought they got complacent, man. I've done that before. This little change, ain't man. Like you said, you get out there, you start deleting foreign keys and indexes start rebuilding. You're like, oh my God, this gonna take 3 days to finish, man. I've been there, so you got to stay. Like Tamika said, you gotta have full coverage. You gotta understand it. And two is they gotta have rollbacks built into their code. And AWS has these flags, so something don't run, you just set the flag back to original code and it'll come back up. So it seemed like they were missing
blue green deployments.
Yeah, 100%. So it seemed like they were lacking on that, which for a $1 billion company, it seemed like they should have those. So it's a few, like Tamika said. But for me, I do a lot of Coop and Federal. It seemed like they got back up within 6 or 7 hours, so that didn't seem too bad. Because a lot of times, if you're gonna go Coop to a whole different data center, sometime they will at least want it to be 12 hours before they make that decision. Now, Tamika, now a lot of stuff is automated. Hell, you can flow over to another AWS and not even know it because the load balancer went down. So it's a little easier to do that now.
Yeah, they might also have something to do with I don't know, PPO. You probably are familiar with this, with things having to be ACID compliant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
that
a database,
like
man. That's a
yeah,
database.
they might. I don't know if it was this change affecting databases or was it more so?
I haven't dug in. I'm gonna do a root access calls. I haven't really dug into it yet. I just been tired lately, so I ain't really been a lot. But that's on my list to kind of dig into the rack. And the other one, the CDW, that took down all the car dealerships. So
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig in a buff of those and do a root access calls like we do at work and kind of dig one. I did the one on Snowflake, so that went pretty well. So I'll probably do another one on those too.
Yeah, they should have made sure that everything ran fine before, or if things didn't run fine or you ran into any issues, it should have stopped before it actually impacted everything. That's what I mean by ACID compliant. Like, it has to completely finish before it.
Yeah, but what happens? Well, I've been there before. I'm sure y'all been there before. It's a little easier now with the NoSQL, but sometimes you halfway through, you done drop foreign keys, reference keys, so you kind of like, if I roll this back, it's gonna take as long as if I just keep going and try to figure it out. Sometimes you have point of no return and you're trying to make a decision. So it sounded like they were like, we here, it's gonna be too hard to roll back because, like Tamika said, it don't look like they had their blue, green, or deployments in there. So I think they was like, we here, so we're gonna have to just figure it out.
Yeah, and people are still working on this. I mean, they said that they were trying to get it done, like fixed within that same day. And then some people are still like stuck in other countries, can't get back home. The people stuck in Mexico had to push back their vacation and everything, or stuck on their vacation an extra day.
Yeah, one lady, she was in Indiana for Europe, and so her hotel money was gone, and she was kind of in the airport heading to Europe. So she was kind of in this nowhere land because she came from somewhere else to Indiana to go to Europe, which I think is weird because we got a dinky airport. So
yeah, and then another thing is, I think which is going to be even more so worse for them is the healthcare industry. I had a few few contacts who work in healthcare, and they were saying how they had to work extra hours and people had to miss their appointments.
Yeah.
And, missing appointments, you may have to wait like several more months before you can get another appointment.
That's great.
Depending on whatever like you were trying to get in for. And things are already overpacked. But
hold on real big. Mike V, you could come up. I dropped the link. I think I can get 10 people up if you want to come up, Mike V. Shout out to Mike V, the Black Brain Trust. Keep going before the billions. And that's something we're going to talk about when we do our pipeline talk about security points, and part of that's going to be incident response and what happened if you have to roll back a pipeline, which every now and then you have to do, but that's part of that whole security. And that triad, I always forget about availability. When I used to argue with my boss, DDoS, I'm like, that's not me. They ain't hacking the database. He's like, high tire, can't nobody get in the damn system. So availability is you too, right? So I think a lot of people lax on the availability part of the CIA triad. So.
Yeah, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, it's 99.9% available. For like I know for Google Cloud they have different databases. It's like, oh yeah, you can choose the Cloud Spanner, and it's more available than it is for Cloud SQL.
Yeah.
So it depends on your budget.
Yeah. Amazon has the relational Aurora, so it's a Aurora database in each zone, right? So they get like crazy, and if one of the whole zones goes down, you just automatically there, and it's synced up to the thousands of a millisecond, something crazy like that. But you got to pay for that, right? That's gonna cost you a little more. So, and two is when you do your RT on your RPO, what does that look like?
Very expensive, man.
Very expensive. You back Equalizer? I guess I didn't see you drop.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you crystal clear.
Yeah.
Before the billion, so you came in, and you were talking about what was going on at Georgia Tech in their situation. What have they? How affected were they? I know I'm sure it was campus wide, but did they have any? Did they have any other issues like couldn't get people couldn't get in the dorm rooms or what have you? Did they have anything like that?
I think they were able to get into dorm rooms, but like there were certain things like when I was passing by earlier today, they had certain computers still had a blue screen of death from the CrowdStrike incident, and then there also was like reports of people not being able to check people in for certain services. So like if you wanted to come into some of the not for the dorm rooms, but they have like different event spaces, but it made it harder for you to validate. Okay, yeah, this person is a student. You can come on in and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure there was more issues that happened. When I went, they were able to still like use their computers, like in like the event space I went to, which is the Tech Square community. But yeah, the other parts of Tech Square were still affected. Like they have a hotel and a conference center that was affected as well. And so people who flew in to stay in that hotel probably noticed some issues as well.
Contingency plans. That was it. And I'm sure that they had to come up with that for the stuff for the airlines for 46,000 flights out there, and people couldn't get around. I mean, that was almost like what was it? What was the no, that was like almost like 9/11 when they grounded everything.
Yeah.
Grounded everything.
And this happened out of nowhere. There's probably so much money that was lost.
Oh yeah. But I mean, shout out. It seems to be happening less, and it seems like we're getting a little more resilient. It seems to be getting fixed quicker too. So, so I think with the cloud, AWS, Azure,
that was more my point. Like something like this, those flights will still be grounded, right?
Yeah,
we're not. We're still able to move around. We're still able to do what we need to do. So it's just interesting that something like that would take place and then and then we're still able to bounce back and keep moving. I mean, we wasn't down a whole week.
No.
With flights down a whole week. Now there may have been some flights and they might have rebooked people on other airlines.
Yeah,
but that's just coming up with a solution to get those people out of there. I don't fault them for that.
No, that's a good reciprocal agreements, right? Is common. So they could be having airlines. Well, if we down, you need to give us some flights, and if you down, because I don't know if it was all the airlines, but shout out to Mike V and Tim talking in the chat, because I'm trying to work on my Kubernetes and Dockers this year, because my container knowledge is slim to none. So that's kind of definitely on my list. Slide in there with OpenShift too, of course, but just get container knowledge with security. So that's kind of on my agenda to get a little better or a little more knowledgeable on. So,
well, all you have to do is do it, right?
Oh, fast.
All you have to do is do it. I mean, once you start getting into containers, then you're moving over to Helm charts and working with Argo CD and workflows and so forth. You'll start to get a feel for systems and distributed systems at that, and start understanding Kubernetes a whole lot better. I mean, Kubernetes is just one aspect of it. It's understanding distributed systems and traffic monitoring and shaping. That's when you start getting into things. That's when it starts changing the landscape. That's when you really start talking about the bit butts. Like, I don't know if you ever seen the jobs, the DevSecOps jobs posted on, like, for ByteDance. They usually range between 300,000 to 700,000.
No, I was there. I need to get over there. I keep saying, because I've done the older version of that. So, long story short, we used to check stuff in PVC. We were running corn shell scripts right before all that. That was our poor man's automation back in 2007. So I got it. So I need, like you said, I just need to get the modern version. Shout out to Mike V. He said, "Did you cover Elon Musk saying he wants to remove CrowdStrike from Tesla systems?" No, Big Glass also. No, I did not. I don't really talk about Elon Musk very often. I think he's a smart guy, a little bit egotistical though, and a little elitist for me. So I try to stay off the Elon Musk. Unless I'm talking about the PayPal mafia with all them together.
Why don't he just buy CrowdStrike?
Oh no.
Right. His paper's long enough. His paper's
that's true.
Listen,
that's true.
Listen. He got him in the car, right? He got him in the car. Why have them in the car? Why not go buy them? Put them in his car.
That might be hard for them to do, man.
He can do it, but
he can do it. He got the money to do it.
I'm more so saying because he owns he's over so many different companies, and Tesla was already upset with him buying X or Twitter.
Yeah. He shouldn't be managing them though. He can buy them. He should just put other people and let them manage them, right?
Well,
Tam wants him to go vertical, right, and just have everything on and put in the car.
But he's not the type who's going to buy. He's not the Warren Buffett guy who's going to go in there and buy it and get the best person and not be seen. That's not him. So I don't see how that's going to work out.
That's a good point. Mike V said he didn't think it would be approved by the government. Facts, they should be blocking Elon. He's doing a little too much lately, man.
Why would they block him? He wouldn't have dominance.
Well, they already gave him enough with Tesla and him, and he's the only pedestrian, testing rockets. They give him plenty of
listen. I'm gonna tell you like I tell my homegirl, you ain't got to be a hater all your life.
No, I am not a hater. I'm just saying. You got to draw a line, man. You got to draw a line.
Jeff Bezos trying to get his rockets up there. Jeff Bezos doing a little bit. He always seems to be
Virgin Atlantic. Why y'all up here being a hater on Elon? Let Elon cook.
No, man.
You know what? When his cars stop crashing on their own, okay, maybe. Okay. Okay. I'll give you that.
No, you gotta be a hater all your life. It's okay.
Elon just be doing. But shout out to him, man. He be trying to do some hard problems and making it work. I don't know why he bought X though, but so
data.
I don't know. Good point. I didn't think about that. That is from pure data.
Yeah.
And we know Tesla's really a data company with AI, so just adding on to that.
Data.
So,
he and data and the control of marketing, right?
Yes. Yeah, because that's what Facebook and Google is. Every time people say, "Oh, Google's a tech company," I'm like, "Well, I'm a finance guy, so I'm gonna look at the balance sheet. All I see is advertising. So that tells me they're an advertising company. They're marketing.
Oh yeah.
Then they're tech. They are creating tech, but looking at their revenues, they're killing it. Yeah, same thing with Facebook. Yeah,
I've never bought anything out of Facebook Marketplace. I've never gave Zuck $1 of my money, but he's still getting billions of dollars.
Yes, sir.
That ad revenue must be
he's number 2. The last time I checked, and it's been some time now. We talking some 48 to 52 billion. This is not in a decade. This is a year. Just off of that, just off of the advertising revenue alone, nothing else.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of money that just understanding that just kind of is a different, because you ask people how much you gave Facebook. It's all free from that template, but they take your data and the advertisers love you because
exactly
right. So he can pinpoint usually, your political, your race, where you buy, because they're reading your messages, your messenger. So they got all. And 2 is you tell them who all your buddies are, and you like and check in who you want. I eat at nice restaurants, so now I get advertisements for all the nice restaurants in my area, right? So they try to target you. Not try, I would take that back. They do. So
I'm gonna push back even further and say that those companies are real estate companies.
Okay.
And the reason why, and the reason why I say they're real estate companies, when Microsoft go and buy, they go and buy 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acres at a time.
That's a good point.
So, and they're built, and same thing for Facebook, Amazon, Facebook. They probably have more real estate than anything.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, because they're all out here in Northern Virginia, man. They are in Ashburn. They're in Prince Williams. I mean, they're buying all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then not only that, right? They also, Amazon has Arrived Homes, so he owns that as well too.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at what they're doing, they're probably more of a real estate company than anything.
Yeah, because they got AWS over here in Atlanta. They have Microsoft and they have Google, and that's like a lot of real estate that they have over there. And really, what's interesting is that they get all this real estate in these places, and then they won't hire the people who are local to the area. So it's kind of like if you try to apply for a job, like let's say in Amazon's trying to hire some talent. You have offices in Atlanta, but then all the jobs are over there in Seattle or in Seattle, Washington, or something else.
Well, that I mean, unfortunately, again, it's based on the area because, if I'm thinking about Atlanta, I'm thinking, Verizon insurance. I'm not thinking tech, personally. Now, Amazon, their headquarters too. They're within a mile, 1.9 miles from where I'm at. So they're high around here. But again, per mile, my area per mile has the most tech than anywhere else in the world. So it makes sense.
Wait, where are you again?
I'm in Northern Virginia. I'm like an exit away from DC, man. I'm right in the center of everything.
I can believe that because there is a lot of companies out there in DC. And then it's kind of isn't that like close to the tri-state area and stuff like that? So
DMV, the whole DMV area.
Yeah. Amazon is, they're right near the airport, and then we have another airport. It's miles away, and then we got 495, 395, 95. So like before Amazon even came here, when they were looking at 3 or 4 different locations, people thought they were going to be in New York City. I'm like, nah, they're going to be where I'm at. And people thought I was crazy, and I had to break it down to them. I'm like, if I were them, I got 2 international airports. I got Virginia. Northern Virginia is in the top 3 business-friendly states in the country, and there's a lot of tech out here. So I was breaking it down to people like, no, it's not going to happen. And then here we are. They got a big-ass campus.
That makes a lot of sense because New York is not a business-friendly state from whatever.
No, that's crazy.
Nah, the traffic.
B2B, you see that on the screen? What's your thoughts on that?
The locals are not talent, they say. Cheaper to bring in talent than to develop talent. I don't know what they mean by. So the locals are not talent. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are you saying?
Yeah, he's saying like they say the locals are not talent, and then they turn around and say it's cheaper to bring in talent than to develop talent.
In the short term, yes. short term.
Yes, I here's the part that I agree with, depending on what we're building, right? If I know we got to build a greenfield environment, I need to have my experts there first to build it out. And as we build out and get closer and closer to stability, to something more and more that a day to day, then I'm gonna go hire local talent.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that local talent, like say in Macon, Georgia, and I need to build distributed systems and Kubernetes clusters, I'm not gonna find that there. I gotta bring those folks in, and I gotta make it worth a while too.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now. I guess when he says not talented, I mean like talented. Like
Yeah,
they're not experts.
a little different.
It isn't a location rich area, depending on the industry, for the most part. But people got to realize these corporations or any business owner, if you're wise and smart, you're gonna start off with the state or the local economy, how that's working out, the taxes, the politics, and the industries. Does it make sense for me to be there? That's the first thing.
Let me chime in on that, Equal. I guess my only pushback is when you
Yes.
big as those guys,
Yeah,
they throw money at them because
yes.
Right. So from that, now me and B2B starting something, right? I think if I'm Amazon, I'm dictating to you what my taxes are. But go ahead, chime in on that.
The thing is, right? Like, so the reason why things are crazy, I don't want to say crazy, but why things are the cost of living where I'm at is so high is because it's a quote unquote talent rich area. Colleges, internationally, government, tech, and then locations of the airport, all that stuff. So just Northern Virginia, just within a 7-mile radius of me, from here to McLean to Northwest, I'm literally looking at, I don't know how many at least 20 Fortune 1, no, I think 10 Fortune 100 company headquarters. So that alone, forget about the federal government, just that alone. And then all the organizations are all out here basically in DC or in Northern Virginia. So it's a talent rich area as opposed to, like Atlanta.
Yeah. I think that, so let me add on something that I guess one of my frustrations, I should say, is that so we have our mayor here. We have a newer mayor in Atlanta, Andre Dickens. I think he's a cool guy. Met him a few times and stuff like that. I've gone to several of his events, but even going to some of the events, he never brings up the job situation that we're going through right now in Atlanta, and especially because Atlanta covers so much area, because it also covers Buckhead, where there's a plenty of different tech companies and a lot of corporate companies as well. That's really where all the big boy and big girl jobs are. But they have all these events and galas and stuff like that, but they never talk about how they're going to change some policy to be able to make it so that way people in Atlanta can actually get more jobs. And really, there's no incentive for companies to hire local talent, even like making it just a little bit more expensive for you to relocate people to Atlanta. I was talking to a lady earlier today. She was from Sri Lanka, and she was talking about how her visa was not accepted and stuff like that for a lot of different companies. But I was telling her, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm a U.S. citizen. It's still hard trying to find work."
That's a real deep conversation. And I don't know I'm not saying to touch, because right, like you saying, right. Shout out to the Black Brain Trust. That stuff more they touch than me. Shout out to Mike B. They do a lot of political stuff, which I don't touch, and a lot of other things. So definitely go check those out. So that's one of the things, especially, and I'm gonna tiptoe around it lightly, is immigration, H-1B. Should you allow them? Should you block them? Should you tax them? Right. One thing we did when Salesforce came here, we told the guys is, If you hire Indiana talent or United States talent, that's part of your tax abatement. You got to hire so many people to come downtown from the state of Indiana, and we're going to give you bigger tax breaks, right? So they would train those people. So that's how ways you could do it, B2B. Keep going on that, B2B. I think that's a definite thing.
I'm gonna chime in for
All right.
who, go ahead.
I'm about to jump down.
All right.
ProfessorBlackOps. I just sent you email woman link. If you get a chance, check the email possible. Very good information. We're gonna have this conversation soon. All right. Thank you again, guys. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you two perspectives. One perspective, I'm from Atlanta. Two, I've lived in Northern Virginia several times, right? So and I've lived all over, right? And all working in tech. So I'll give you the Tamika experience from being from Atlanta. It's just one of them things that, to me, I left Atlanta in 2000, and then I tried to move back several times. Atlanta never wants to pay. That's number one. The salaries of 100,000, 200,000, just, I mean, within the last 10 years, I'll say, has really gotten there. They wasn't there for a very long time. Number two, it's not necessarily about the talent in Atlanta, because there are enough Black people in Atlanta with enough engineering background, coming out of Georgia Tech, coming out of Georgia State, coming out of all the different schools. Atlanta is a college town in general, right? So the talent is there. The issue is the money that they want to pay the people to do the job. So if you don't want to pay the people to do the job, they're gonna do what? They're gonna go somewhere else and make it work. If I can get 200,000 and live in DC, I'm gonna take the 200,000 to go live in DC, even though the cost of living may be higher. But the goal in most people's mind is, I made it to 200,000. I'm never gonna look back. I'm not gonna take a pay cut from 200 to 150 just to go live back in Atlanta. It just ain't worth it. When you start looking at the cost of living and trying to live near your job, it's almost the same as you living in Northern Virginia. So what Atlanta has a pay problem. And it's not necessarily a talent problem. I bet you if Atlanta started putting jobs up for 250, 300,000, 400,000, I bet you that'll change that landscape locally. I bet you people will start. I bet you the schools will listen in. But again, Atlanta got a pay problem. Again, going back to that whole conversation we had before, my cost of living pay me accordingly. Pay me what I have put in an effort and work towards. That's the issue with that. Northern Virginia. Even in Northern Virginia, and I lived in Alexandria, I lived in Fairfax, I worked in Chantilly across the street from the big triple letter. I've done all of that, right? Even within that area, right, of Northern Virginia, you still have a pay problem there as well. So you could say, hey, I make 200,000, I make 225. But if you live in Maryland and you commuting all the way, if you live in PG County and you got to commute to Reston every single day, you eat that up in tires and everything else.
Are you crazy?
Now,
that's what I say.
Yeah. But again, this is what, again, I'm not knocking nobody to do it. I'm just making my observation. What most Black people do who live in that area, they live in Maryland, they commute to Virginia. That's just what they do. That's what they do. They don't save the money. They don't really. They're not really saving anything because they spend all their money commuting,
and they lose so many hours. And they think I'm crazy because I live in Northern Virginia. Like, oh, you live with those people. I'm like, your commute is out of control. I can either drive or hop on a bus or hop on the train, depending on the traffic. Like it's different.
And also, isn't it that the transportation? Because the transportation here in Atlanta is terrible. You know, like I know that it's. I know they're probably better.
They right on par. No. I mean, the transportation is terrible, but so is the traffic. So the
Okay.
transportation, like if you live within the city in Atlanta, of course you can catch MARTA and loop around. The issue is everybody want to have their jobs all the way in Dunwoody or Alpharetta, or
Yeah.
you may got to commute out to Kennesaw or something like that, or
Norcross and
Canton, or
everything.
up in Marietta by the Battery, around somewhere
Yeah.
around in that area. But
That's
if
where I
you
used to
live
work.
but if you live all the way in Conyers to commute
Oh yeah.
to the Battery every
Yep.
single day, you gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone Mountain, Conyers,
Yeah.
Social Circle, and all that. Yeah, you'll be.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Hold on real
so
quick.
go
Hold on real
ahead.
quick, BB. Let me get this question. Shout out to my man Calvin. How can you restrict H-1B visas when you're not developing local talent to be educated and make it make sense? The reason why it would make sense, Calvin, from my perspective, like B said, is since we're not taking H-1B, we got Georgia Tech, we got Georgia University. We could put money in those universities to train a local talent, and that would force companies to train them and get those people ready. Now you can just go get an H-1B, pay them less. So I think if you do that, I think the companies will train those people and get in a loop. And I think that's kind of where we're missing out. We don't train people in the United States as much. You got to train yourself. So that's my 2 cents. If anybody else want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think, I mean, if what I would do now, I really don't have a lot of patience. This is why I'm not like in politics. But what I would do, which makes sense, I would create a whole feeder straight from kindergarten all the way to college with the school department. One, the school department is communicating with your the state or the county or city economic department and the other whatever organizations or board of directors, because now these people, they have real world experience, and we're not just talking college theory. And so now you have a system of feeder that is up to date every single year. So now the education is more grounded on reality and is updated automatically. And we don't have to talk, in my opinion, we don't have to talk about feelings and I feel this way or things should be. No. This is what the market is right now, and this is where it's trending. This is how these kids need to be educated. End of story. Call it a day. Now you're keeping your locals there. Your middle class will be strong. You're gonna get your tax revenue. Everybody go home and enjoy their life. But that's not how they do it.
Well, my only little pushback, and it's small, and I've had this conversation with a couple people, is college was originally created to create a scholar, right?
Yeah, it was for the top 10%. It was for the top 10%.
And I think now, right, I think we're trying to create college as a trade school. So I think that's why everybody's going to boot camps. Shout out to Tamika. They training people where you might not need a 4-year degree, right? If you have the right skills and the right experience and the right portfolio. So I think that's kind of where a scholar in 4 years, because now the ROI on a 4-year degree doesn't make sense unless you're majoring in STEM or legal or something else. You can't get a social studies coming out with 100,000 and try to make that up, right?
But the problem is, socially in this country, we've made it that something's wrong with you. One, if you don't go to college and graduate, that's one thing. And now, especially now, but even before the pandemic, basically, if you don't have a degree, you pretty much, on average, couldn't get a job where you were comfortable.
Shout out to me. We talk about that. Without a college, you can't be a high value man. I don't want to touch on that. That's for the young dudes and dating.
I'm not gonna go that far.
Can't be high value man. You can't even get a date.
Generally speaking, but right now, people with PhDs, people with masters, people with all kinds of stuff, they can't get a job. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like it really depends on how you want to play the game and you understanding the game for what it is.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in addition to that, even if you don't have a LinkedIn, they look at you like you're crazy. Like, oh, you don't even have a LinkedIn? You aren't even that serious.
Yeah, I don't want to have one. When I say I'm not active, I'm not active. But I have it because I know They're gonna look at
Yeah.
that, and then if you don't have a picture up, what are you hiding? And it's all kinds. It's politics. It's nonsense.
I got a picture up from 2005 when I'm skinny. I got a flip phone in my picture. But two, from a security perspective, I never put my current job on there, so I don't have to. I try because people dox even off of YouTube.
Exactly.
We can't be adults. People kind of get a little crazy, and I don't even talk about spicy subjects, and I still kind of worry about it. So I never had my current job on there. So
I don't blame you.
Now, I'm gonna say this, and like I know I get pushback on this, but it is what it is. I mean, whatever. So I say this, like I think I think a degree has its place, and I think certifications have their place.
Facts.
I think the higher you go up, I think the degree matters. I think if there is a plateau. This is my own personal opinion. There is a plateau where the certification stands out and degree doesn't matter. But if you try to go up into management and start trying to lead a group of people, I think that's when that degree matters, unless your network is strong and can pull you through that. That's just what I have seen. When it comes down to getting into management and having that you just trying to come in and walk off the street and they interview you and you just got your cert, they were like, you could be a team lead, but you ain't gonna be a director.
Yeah, they're looking at you like, who the hell are you? Who do you think you are? That's how they say it.
But two is, and I bring this up to a lot of people. I have a computer science degree, but it's from 1990. I did RPG, COBOL, Fortran, and PL1. That shit don't even exist anymore. So you got to do search to at least stay current, right? To make sure you're relevant. That's the stuff I learned. It doesn't even exist anymore.
That's true, but I'm telling you again, my first year was in computer science, but it's across the board though, because even in finance, I've seen people in certain departments, especially when it comes to like the underwriting and the credit number stuff. I've seen managers or even higher up managers, they only want to know if the person has a degree. They're not saying did this person graduate in accounting or in finance? No, they're saying, does he or she have a degree?
But it's
ridiculous.
But is that boomer inflation? I argue with my old boomers. I think because they got one, I think as they transfer out, I think that might change. Because I've been pushing back lately on those guys and saying, they got certs. Because the weird thing is, and Tamika, I'm at DOD, we're going to train you before you touch a computer any damn way.
Exactly.
So we're not
Can I make a quick point too?
Yeah, go ahead, B2B. Jump in. Let B2B in there.
I just want to make that point is that sometimes, and even if you don't necessarily get a degree starting off, like if you're trying to go the self-taught route, it's just such a slippery slope because you can go into a point where you're just not targeted in what you want to do. I had some, like even with experience and a degree, I'll be interviewing for these jobs and then they say, oh, no, we need you to know this like the back of your hand. Like you need to know AWS. And then you go to another company, they say, oh, okay, where's your Azure experience? I was like, man, there's no way you can learn every single thing, even though they are like alternatives to each other. There's so many things to know that it is almost get to a point where it's kind of pointless to just keep learning these things without having a target for what you are trying to get.
Right. And so that's why I think, Tamika's personal opinion, I'm biased as hell. Tamika's personal opinion is all those titles and stuff don't matter. Go infrastructure, stay infrastructure. You'll be employed for the next 20 years. I get it. You want to do data, you want to do data engineering, come to the dark side. Come on over and get you a security clearance.
I got one.
It's waiting on you. Come to the dark side, go infrastructure, and then flip and go back to your data engineering if you want to.
Right, because we still use.
It's my personal opinion.
Yeah, because we still use Linux and everything too. So it's kind of like we have some.
I know that's why I'm trying to figure out why you out here struggling. Other than told you what to do, you keep going against the blueprint. I laid it out for you. You still keep going like the little guys on what was that little show, The Mummy, and they had the dynamite and they were running across the bed. Yeah. That's what you're doing. Come on over here.
because matter of fact, you know what, Tam? I'll tell you this is that earlier today, I got a referral for a job, and this was a software engineer position, but they still use Python and SQL. I said, okay, there's overlap here, and there's a few other things I had skills in. So then they said, so I got the referral, filled out the application. They said, okay, I'm going to send your resume over to the recruiter right now, and then within probably 30 minutes, they said, oh, we're going to pass on you because you're too data focused. And then I was like, well, that don't even make no sense.
I ain't never heard no shit like that, B2B. I ain't never heard no shit.
That's what they said.
Look, let me help you remotely. All right, listen to what you need to do. And take this for what it's worth, whatever. If you understand in a general sense, if you understand anything about any cloud, AWS or Azure, you're straight. Start putting on there and start learning Linux and how data encryption, data at rest, data in motion works. Understand that, right? As from and I'm trying to keep it within your skill set for the data, right? Now, anything dealing with, and this may be too toolsy and DevOps for you, but understanding Splunk or Elasticsearch and data and relating those, all of that together, then start coming back in. This is the back end of that. You're a Kanban specialist, continuing monitoring, site reliability engineering. That's the path you should be going down. And let me tell you why you should go down the site reliability engineering. It's because you're dealing with data, you're dealing with security, and on top of that, you still get a chance to deal with infrastructure. So you can go anywhere you want to, still use your data engineering and still be on different teams and can say, okay, well, look, I went this route, but I really enjoy going down the data engineering. I can help y'all fix your data problem. And now you become that Swiss Army knife. So when people look at you, you're a Swiss Army knife and you can go anywhere and you could talk about anything. I'm not trying to give you more tools. I'm just trying to give you a clear path on how, if you came to me and you said you was data focused all the time, I would like, okay, we got an application over here. It's using Elasticsearch or it's using Splunk. How can I ingest this data and get this data sped out to this data lake or this data warehouse? Well, help me organize that, because that's what I need to do.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you.
And Tam, when you said it, because I have experience with Elasticsearch, I used to use it every single day. So
hold on. Let me ask you this: are you willing to move, or do you need to stay in Atlanta?
He got to stay.
I'm gonna have to now. At this point, I'm like, it ain't even no. Go ahead.
I had you, but you got to stay there. I had you.
But I was saying, because even the point that you made earlier about how Atlanta doesn't want to pay, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And right now they're kind of focused on, I think, a lot of things with the taxes and the election coming up. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now too. So that's also probably another reason why it's so difficult. But there's a lot of people who say, hey, there's jobs in these other places. You know, they're still hiring.
Not only that, the problem that I've always had with Atlanta is an entertainment focused city.
Yeah.
And so if you mention anything outside of entertainment and here's where technology comes into play for people. Either you do cybersecurity or you got a podcast. That's technology.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You got a podcast, or you do cybersecurity, or you got an app, right? And so the issue is people don't know the different depths of just tech in general. So you find yourself lost across the sauce. You just out here floating, because people really don't know. Everybody got an app. Everybody got a problem for you to solve. Everybody got a podcast. But really, when it comes down to it, and you ask them what their infrastructure look like, how many clients they got, can they app scale? They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to talk to my CTO. Well, okay, you talk to the CTO, you like, well, how he your CTO? All he know is how to build work with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And he just
Oh
got
wow. I know exactly. That's so true. I literally talked to somebody the other day, and that's the exact thing.
right. I'm just saying. That's really what you got in Atlanta. And I'm from Atlanta. So I know when I come back home what people talking about, it's just that's just one of them things. And then you like, what are you talking about, man? We're talking about building an application. We're talking about scaling it. We're talking about the data behind it, security, the whole nine. Being in it, like everybody be like, I got an app. It's in the app store. You should download it. Oh, and listen to my mixtape. I want to listen to your mixtape.
Yep.
Shout out
what's funny
ATL, man.
is
Shout out to
that so? And
ATL.
Tam, when you say that, right? I went to we have a place called Atlanta Tech Village over here, and we were having it was called Dell for Startups, and there was a whole bunch of different venture capitalists and people who had their own startups and stuff like that came in, and one guy came to us and he had an app. It was a like a finance app for taxes and bookkeeping and stuff like that. And then I asked him a few questions. He couldn't answer none of the questions I asked him. I was like, "Oh, what did you guys use to build it?" I have no clue. And he's like one of the founders of the app. He's like, "I just sell it." I was like, "But if I asked you any questions, okay, well, how
That's
many
not his
users do you
job.
have?" Yeah, I was like, "Okay, how are you selling an app? Don't know anything about it."
Because that's not his job.
Because he's a sales guy. That's what he is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
not
he
his
is.
job.
They went on Upworks and got a $15 an hour guy and created that, man.
Yeah.
I was like, "Boy," but that's what's interesting is that, and even if I say something that you probably should know, even if you're a non-technical person, like if I say, "Oh, when do you guys plan on launching the app?" I have no clue. I was like, "Dang, man, how much if I was a business owner or a venture capitalist, and then I was trying to invest in your business, you should know like certain, small questions that
But-
even a business owner could answer."
But I think both of y'all just hit it, and we need to do better. I'm throwing it out is we about the optics. We're not about the tech. Right?
Correct.
So when we talked about B2B, so when you have to meet somebody at a certain level or get there, we playing, man. We all about the optics. Like Tim said, you got to get OpenShift. You got to get bare metal. You got to build. We barely doing databases, man. Right.
Yeah.
So.
And then this one guy, and what Tam said earlier really hit home because she said, talking about Ethereum and Bitcoin. I was talking to a guy from Microsoft. He works at Microsoft. And I was like, oh, yeah, I have somebody else who also uses Bitcoin and in the blockchain for their application. And the guy told me, he said, look, when people say blockchain and Bitcoin and all that, really, I think of it as like the World Wide Web. It really doesn't mean that there's overlap between each other. And then I was like, okay, so everybody uses blockchain, but nobody's doing the same thing.
No,
like everybody has an app, but everybody has an app and it's supposed to protect data, but it's not doing the same thing.
But that's just the new buzzword, though, right? Everybody blockchains hitting, crypto, and now if I'm doing a toaster, I'm gonna say it got AI in it. Right.
Oh yeah. They use AI to go into the blockchain.
Yeah. So everybody, so I think the sad part about it, and I'll let y'all chime in, is tech is the new Bitcoin, right? We're hot, everybody's got a course, everybody's selling something, everybody's spinning up something, everybody's doing something. So tech is the new Bitcoin, man. I'm just waiting for it to settle down because it's gonna be hot for a minute and all those fly by night people just gonna drop off, but everybody's got get into cybersecurity within 3 months and make 250, right? So
well, I see it as most people can't even tell the difference between blockchain and Bitcoin. So that's all I need to know. And when people are using those interchangeably, for the most part, 9 to 10 times they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's what that tells me.
Yeah, somebody said drop the agency's PBO if you want to pull it up. Sorry for my women in Linux earners. But I dropped that link on
Can I
the
click
show
on?
tonight.
Okay, is
Yeah,
this
you
it?
should be able to grab. I could. Yeah, I can put it in a private chat for you
Yeah,
if you
put in the
need.
back chat. Yeah. I think that'll help me click on it.
Let me see. Where is your chat at in here?
It's in the back. You'll see it. I think it's minimized. If you look right in the.
I can type it in there if you want. I have it up.
Okay, yeah, because I don't see a chat feature
You
unless
see
it's a
it pop.
plus.
You see it pop up.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, I'll share it. I'll share
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I like how you can actually click on it on the restream.
Yeah, and then and if you go in, okay, right now it's already sorted. But if you look at I call it the top 5 dead or alive, right?
Mhm.
This is what the budgets are, and then if you go into these, they'll break them down. But this is the request for the budgets for FY25 going into 25, 24, 25, and going into 26. Now, if you click on the Department of Treasury, that link in the middle right there to the right, yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
I gotta share it. I think I gotta share it because it popped up in a different window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it should be if you just click on that tab, then it should share it.
Is that it?
If you do share a tab.
Share tab. Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out. I got a lot of tabs up, so I'm trying to figure out which one. I think that's it.
Which tab it was? Okay.
Nah, that's the wrong. I think I clicked on
That's
the
the
wrong
one.
tab.
Yeah, that's the wrong one.
I'm doing OnStar again. We done switched.
It's all right. You selling our information.
Budget, yeah, facts. There it is. I got it. There it is.
All right. Blow that up a little bit. I did this earlier, so I'm
it's cool.
All right. So scroll down.
Go down.
So you see keep going. If you click on the IRS service right there, that very first one.
Oh, the third one there.
Yeah. First one. Looking at it. Yeah.
No, you good.
All right, you're probably gonna have to blow that up a little bit, up to 100. And I think it's the third page down.
Oh, there's the blow right there. Kind of.
All right, now go down to the third page. Yeah, keep going. Hold on right there.
Keep going. Oh, hold on right there.
Okay, yeah, blow that up right there. That's the page right there. You can see it right there, but it's probably a little small. Okay, it says Fiscal Responsibility Act introduced uncertainty around our future funding, immediately rescinding the 1.4 billion of IRA appropriations fund and proposing an additional 20.2 billion, right? And if you keep going, they go into what they were talking about, what they want for 2025 and 2026. If you look at that line under there, under the building on success of the IRA, if you look at the second paragraph, it says we're requesting a new mandatory appropriations of 104 billion for the next 10 years. Right. So if we're looking at this, they've already put the request out for 2025 and the request out going into part of 2026. They're telling you what their budget is going to be for the next 10 years. So their jobs are going to be out there already. So if I'm looking for work, I'm going to go look at these agencies that are requesting what they're requesting and then going towards those agencies to work, whether it's a clearance, whether you're a civilian or you're a GS or what have you. That's what I'm looking at. So that's what I talk about on my show is like, okay, I'm going to follow the money. So regardless of who goes into office, where they putting their money at, and let me go follow that paper trail because I know they need me. I know, and in fact, I know they need me, and I know I'm gonna get the best deal. I'm not gonna take nothing less because I just know my skill set and I know the confidence that I have, and they need me. That's just what it is. And so I approach all the budget and everything. I approach it just like that. So that's it.
No, it makes
And
sense.
it's a whole list of budgets and what each one is requesting within those agencies. DoD being the third one, right? Social Security was in there. I think they requested some like 200 billion or something like that. I was looking at. So and you can go through there and figure all that out. Boom. So that's where I would be looking at for work. Those are the agencies I would be looking at. I would be looking at agencies that I would be looking at companies that work directly with those agencies, such as your SAIC. I would look at companies that are medium size, anything 100 and smaller. And the reason why I say 100 and smaller, because those are the companies that are always looking to do a one and done when you're talking about interview. You're not doing 4, 5, 6, 7 interviews. You're doing a one and done because they one, they got to get butts and seats, and two, they got to get the best person in there.
No, that makes sense.
That's it. That's my spiel.
That's awesome.
That's my spiel.
Shout out to DFARS for the DFAS.
Yep.
Type stuff. So yeah, I need to. I don't know if I did a video on DFARS or not. I might need to put that in the queue. Go ahead, BDB. You want to chime in on something?
That's awesome right there.
Yep.
I mean, because like, I'll just be honest. When, especially right now, the job market, they'll ask you to do 3, 4 interviews for one hiring manager, and then after you did all of them, they ask you for a project just for them to say, "Oh yeah, there actually is no job requirement."
That's crazy. I told you, I did a 6-hour interview with AWS. Man, that shit was crazy.
Yeah,
it was good for me though. I ain't gonna lie. I got my interview skills got a lot better. Working on my STAR technique, I was a little outdated. I'm getting my STAR. My STAR technique got a little outdated.
Listen, man, y'all got to get good at asking questions before y'all start doing these interviews. What is the interview? What is the interview process, and what is the salary range? They should be able to tell you that. They should be able to tell you that up front. If your interview process is four interviews, 5 interviews, that's too much.
Yeah.
You know, find you ones that are doing the one and done, and they'll tell you immediate hiring. Okay, so you're immediate hiring. If you're immediate hiring, that means you got pay. You gonna pay me right now.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Start asking for them sign-on bonuses. I don't care if you don't move. I don't care if it costs me to quit my job. So pay me a sign-on bonus, right? Pay me for my pain and suffering. That's this time I y'all gotta get y'all gotta start the same bravado that you got on these rap songs and on these other YouTube channels and stuff. It's the same bravado y'all gotta have when y'all talking to the recruiters. Listen, you gotta go for it. You gotta go for what you want. If not, they're gonna always give y'all salami sandwiches instead of giving y'all boar's head turkey from the deli.
You know what? I'm interested. So I'll tell you, I have been going to like all these different networking events for tech and also for business, and there's like just 2 different types of personalities, and it's kind of like the business personality works better for if you are trying to get a job because you have to talk big. Like PBO was telling me about like his qualifications and all the things that he's done. He's like, I work on big systems. I don't work on little systems.
I'm working little systems.
You know, but then like if you go to the tech networking events, people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to work on this. I don't want to advocate for myself. They gotta like
it is always what they don't want to do. Again,
right.
Don't come to me with your problems. Come to me with your solution.
Exactly.
When that JD is up and they put that out there, that JD is the job description. That job description is the problem. You need to come to them with a solution to that problem. They already done told you. Why you gonna go in and ask them more questions? You tell them how you gonna solve their problem. You tell me how I'm gonna get you over the hump, how I'm gonna get you through that threshold. That's where you come in at. That's where you shine. And then you gotta come in with your personality. Like if you know you don't know something, say, look, I really don't know this well, but I did a review of it before I came to the interview. This is how I think this works. I've never seen this in action, but I did download it and play with it. And so I got a good grasp of the concept. So I'm gonna walk you through what I think it is, and then you tell me where I'm wrong. So you got to start learning how to have a conversation and not do an interview.
Facts. All my interviews are conversations, like, but I'm old, so you know, because And Tam
I
will
was
tell
just
you.
start saying that.
Tam will tell you that.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level, they'll tell you this is what we doing, or this is scenario. So then you just have a conversation. What you gonna do? How you gonna fix it? Because I do, cybersecurity. So how I'm gonna do assessment, when I'm gonna do a finding. This is the program. This is how I'm gonna report to DOD. This is how I'm gonna report to IRS. So you just start having conversations after a while.
Yep. And you know what is interesting because especially now, it's like, okay, well, we want somebody who's like an expert in every single tool that we have on the job description. That's how they like these recruiters talk.
It's a wish list.
Right. And then
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, and then what happens is like you don't have every single thing on the job description. Okay, we just go on to the next person.
They ain't gonna find that person, B2B. That's a unicorn, B.
No, I'm gonna give you Tam tactic, right? This is Tam's tactic, right? Every time they tell me I don't have something, my price go up. So if they call me, right, and they say, hey, we're offering, and this job is paying $75 an hour. And they were like, well, I don't see you have this, that, and other. They was like, now, what did you say you want? 125? Oh, but you don't have, okay, 150. Right? So two can play that game is my point. My point is you're never going to find this unicorn that you're looking for. But because you over here wasting my time and you're trying to tell me I'm not worthy of this, for you to even put me into that position, then my price goes up. Right. So now, because I know it ain't nothing but Indians calling you, and I'm not being shady or nothing like that. I just know who calling you. I just know who doing all the recruiting. This is the Indians calling you. And you might get a onesie, twosie, you might get a white woman or a white man. It's very rare you're gonna get a black recruiter call you. Come on now, I've been doing it for too long.
Very, very true. Yeah.
I've only had one.
I know who calling you.
Yeah, he looked up my he found me on YouTube, my AWS videos. He got me an interview with AWS. Shout out to him.
Yeah, a black recruiter got me my last position.
Yeah. And so with that being said, when they call you, you literally have to walk them through your resume. You have to walk them through, because all they doing is calling you. All they doing is calling you and saying, I don't see these buzzwords on your resume. Well, that may not be the resume that applies to that job. I might have tailored that resume on Glassdoor or Dice 100%. Or what have you for something else. You might have read and got maybe 45%, but I actually got 100%. So then they say, oh, well, can you give us a current resume with all those things on there so I could put you in? It's gonna cost you for me to do that.
Because they asked me. They definitely be like, change this and that.
Listen, so when they ask you, your price needs to go up.
Because they will like not submit you unless you put, oh yeah, you need to add Tableau on there.
No,
I'll use Tableau, Power BI.
I ain't doing none of that.
Be like, I'm like, yeah, I've used it before, but it's like, dang, you gotta have every buzzword.
I see them doing that even in my industry.
Yep.
And I've seen even like at Freddie Mac. I mean, when I say the exact position that I had like damn near 5 years ago, I've seen them change the shit in the last year like 5 times. Well, all kinds of shit. Oh, you need to know R? I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't need to know no programming. And I did that job for damn near 4 years. Where's this coming from? Like, I can run circles around these kids who know all this shit. But like, what are you trying to do? Oh, now I'm looking at, this is a wish list. And you're still hiring for that because nobody fucking exists.
Yep.
Yeah, and two is
months.
The wish list, and two, I think with a lot of people getting laid off, they trying to pick up these top unicorns, man, because big tech laid off so many people.
But those top unicorns don't want to work for them prices.
No,
exactly.
Facts.
They don't have to.
Yeah,
they don't have to.
And they're getting a severance.
100%.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like right now, people playing too many games right now, because I've been on some interviews and I'm looking at these people and I'm talking the C-suite exec, HR director interviewing me, and I'm looking at these clients like they're asking me some really stupid questions. I can't believe they got their position. Oh, the market is like this, so people playing games right now. Because I know a couple years ago, people were just asking technical questions, which I'm good at. Oh, bang, bang, bang. You ask me some other shit like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, I
very
had
weird
one.
right now.
I remember PPO. I was telling people that they asked me, "Oh, go through the code base that I did at another company." Like I was like, "Why would I explain every single line of code I did at in an interview like off the top of my head? Like why would I? I don't have it in front of me. Why would I even answer that?"
You getting bad interviews, my guy.
Yeah. So this guy, he was an Indian dude. This guy, yeah, he just didn't like me. That's essentially what it was.
Oh yeah, you could tell people. Yeah, there's some interviews I had like this dude. He's not gonna hire me. We're just not. I'm not a corporate fit, and he's not a corporate fit to me. So
yeah, it almost got to the point where I was kind of like, yeah, I'm good. Like almost in the interview.
Oh yeah,
but like this company is kind of like I did 2 different processes with them that spanned since October of last year, and it like took several months, and they still haven't. They had this on hold and have this on hold, and the guy, he's going through all the talent before he gets back to me on a decision and stuff like that. I was like, man, I don't even want to work with you guys. When it really comes down to it, you got to do that much like holding of the job, and you don't have the budget for this. You got to go through everybody. I'm like a low priority for you. I'm like, man, just keep it. And you're not even paying that much.
It's like dating, man. If I'm not your number one, next. Like that's just my mentality. Because I'm not.
You can't
in
be
my
running
opinion,
up.
yeah. In my opinion, like if I'm a manager, right, and we're actually hiring, I don't want to waste my time first and foremost. So why am I sitting here BSing, these potential employees? And in my opinion, that's also my name can get out there on some, like this dude's technically is a clown. But right now, I guess because of the market, some people don't give a shit. Like it's hostile right now. But I don't have time for that crap, man.
Yeah, because right now I'm like, there's people I talk to at these networking events. There's so many people at these tech events who don't have a job. I've never seen it this bad where people just don't have a job, and then people are like, "Oh, it's been a year since I've had a job, and I just want to work somewhere," and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, after a year, you might as well just learn how to make websites and start trying to try to sell that.
So let me ask you this: these people that don't have jobs, are they in tech sales or project management?
Oh, there are some people who actually, some people got transitioned into tech sales. They didn't have a job at first, and they were like real estate agents, and then they switched over to tech sales.
Okay, so
and then there are people. The person I was talking to earlier from Sri Lanka, they were a project manager, but not right now because they don't have a job.
Stay technical. That's all I'm gonna say.
Gotcha.
Stay as technical as possible. Even if you go do sales engineering, there's still a tech aspect to sales engineering. You still got to understand the technology. You still got to understand the engineering. You still got to understand the customer needs and focus. Stay technical. Everybody I know that's doing project management or something over time, if you ain't in the federal government, they don't really need project managers like that in a lot of these places, unless you're doing something like a Capital One or something like that. But when you start looking at a Facebook or a Google, the team lead is the project manager.
No, facts.
They the one that's setting up the epics. They're the ones that's doing the Kanban. They're the ones that's doing all the agile stuff. They're not bringing in a person that just sit up there and watch a board and organize stuff and tell you when you can take a break or remove roadblocks. No, they want the teams to collaborate and be on the journey on the spot. So I'll need you to facilitate that. We can do that ourselves.
It is true, and I guess the same thing can go for like Scrum Masters too, right?
Yeah, but only in, like I say, they really shine well in government. Scrum Masters really shine well in government. If you're trying to do your data engineering thing, you personally, I would be looking at everything under like Deloitte. I'll be looking at everything under anything NASA, anything NOAA, because all the data that they're ingesting for satellites, they need data lakes and data warehouses. They need to clean them. They need to do LLMs on them. Those are the
Yeah.
places I would be looking at. Anybody that's dealing with weather data right now is golden. So those are those are the ones I would be going after.
That's a good point, because even Google, when they had those wildfires that happened in Hawaii, they had something called Google Earth Engine that they had to hire on some more data engineers for. And essentially, it just was able to track where the wildfires were going off, and told people to avoid certain areas using satellite imaging. So I think that is a really good point.
So for you, you want to get your skills. That's where you want to be at. Go there. Get somebody, get you a TS, get you upgraded to a TSSCI, eventually go to a CI poly. Keep your CI poly for the next 10, 20 years. You'll be a millionaire in no time. Trust me, it works. That's the layout, that's the game. And the people want to laugh at you when I say this. They laugh at me when I say this. It's nothing wrong with you being a W-2 millionaire. It's something wrong with you when you're a W-2 employee and you're broke. That's two different things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was that? The T what?
Security
What you
clearance.
mean?
Oh, okay.
I'm
in finance.
So
yeah.
top secret clearance.
Top secret, yeah, that's good.
Yep. So top
I got
secret.
it.
So
Yeah.
TS is the top secret.
Yeah.
And then the SCI is the compartmentalized, meaning you read onto a project, and then with the CI that's your polygraph. So now you get your polygraph, and now you're working, especially if you're working in the Intel community. There's no way you can be. It's so small, and it's not a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to do it. Right? A lot of people don't want to do it because people don't want to keep their nose clean. Keep your credit straight. Don't hang out in the streets, going to different places. Don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Keep your make sure you pay your debt. Don't go to China.
Right. No, that is true.
North Korea.
Just do simple things. Keep your head down for 10 years. Get your job paying you 200,000.
Yeah.
Live off 100. Stack that for 10 years. Do that for 10 years. You'll be a millionaire. Invest. Find a company that strategically wants to invest in you. When I say strategically wants to invest in you, going back to the original conversation, find companies that want to put 10%, 15%, 20%, 25% into your 401k. You don't do nothing. They put money in. By the time you look at it, you get it with a company, they contributing $70,000 into your 401k between you and the employer. You get that increases over time. Not only that, you get incentive bonuses. So you get $30,000 back off the rip tax, right? So you may get $40,000. They tax that. You may walk away with 30,000, something like that. So you get the chance to get that money back and do something else. What I'm talking about is profit sharing 401k. I did a whole show on this. It's episode 125 on tech stocks and jobs on my live. Go look at it. I break it all the way down. I give you all the companies that do it. And then once you start looking and being strategic about those companies that you go work for, and then investing in, because you're investing in your skill sets, they're investing in you. You find companies like companies that I work for, they pay for your PhD. You don't pay for your own PhD. They pay for your PhD. They pay for your master's. They pay for all your certs. They pay for you to go to conferences. They like for you to go to conferences. They give you budgets of 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 for you to go. We over here arguing about whether or not $50,000 is a good salary or not. Where do they do that at? That doesn't make sense to me. So when I'm talking about being strategic, I'm really talking about how we can build wealth. My goal is to make millionaires out of my group. And if it take me 10 years to make a millionaire, it take me 10 years. But they got a plan. They understand how to do it.
No,
Most people don't. The average person don't become a millionaire until they really hit 62. But right now it's like 50, 55. But if I could take someone who's 30, get them just keep their head down for 10 years, they maybe start out at 120, then they get to 150 maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 3 years, 4 years they may be at 200. Okay, now we in the game. I still got several more years for that person to make 200,000. If they live off of half their salary each other way and be strategic about that they go work for, you'll be a millionaire.
I don't know why your channel has not hit my YouTube. Cause you talking my language. That's why I'm like, I just find it weird. I never seen you populate on my YouTube.
Yeah, Tam has been out here. I've been subscribed to Tam for about how long has it been, Tam? It's like 3 years?
Mm-hmm. I'm on the low. Cause you know what? I don't talk about all the other stuff. I do. But not like that.
Because most of the stuff I follow is like it's obviously finance, economics, some tech stuff. So now that I'm hearing you, I'm like, that's kind of I guess I need to reset my search or something.
You know what? I'm horrible about promoting myself, so which is fine because I'm busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts. I'm too busy. I'm so burnt out. Shout out to Tim. We're gonna do a joint high value man. I'm just bullshit.
Hey, I'm all game, right?
Man, I told myself I ain't touching that in 2024. I'm leaving that to the young people like before the billions, man.
Speaking of that.
It's all good. But speaking of that, I have to go because I got some more work to do. I got to fill out some forms. I got to get ready for in the morning. So
I appreciate you.
Hey man, I appreciate you for letting me come over here. And
there's a channel. Good. I got her highlighted, so everybody go check her out. Subscribe. Like we said, we're gonna give her some free advertisement.
I appreciate you.
Even though I think your channel bigger than mine, but
I think we about the same. I don't even think I got 4,000 yet.
Yeah, I'm about 32. Once YouTube demonetized me for a minute, me and B2B done made a comeback. I'm have to.
Why did you get demonetized?
I think they were hitting little channels. They didn't like how I was. I guess I was showing too much news, and my response wasn't quite right. So they got a lot of it. I think didn't that happen to you too, B2B?
What did you say? BBO?
When you got demonetized with the response video for a minute.
Yeah, it's because I got demonetized because of reused content, and so I had to change my strategy completely. Now I don't have issues of getting things demonetized. I got remonetized, and all my videos now are actually doing better than they ever have.
Yeah, I saw one of your videos got with 5,000 views or something like that.
No, one of these got 60. Then it won't
yeah.
I'm at right now the biggest video I have right now is at 67,210 views.
Okay.
But
congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you. But it's a bad look. That's the only thing about it. It's like people only watch it because it looks bad, but the video is informative and I'm trying to be educational.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you. And then
I'm gonna start a beef with you just because. I'm gonna do a beef video.
That's the sad part about YouTube. Sometimes it's like, dude, you just can't do regular good content.
It gotta be beef. It gotta be controversial. I'm gonna do a beef video. I'm gonna be like, let me tell you why I don't like him.
But you know what happened with my video, that live stream that came on, that video did so good. I was like, man. But I tried to go away from the B stuff and I started just talking about my own experience because I don't need to react to content that way. I can just talk and then give my own expertise on something. But I'm going to be putting up more content on my other channel, like tutorials and stuff like that. So that way I can get the tech part.
Yeah, you got to get your tech in there. I got I got side work from my tech and I get interviews and I get recruiters always hitting me up.
Yeah, because PBO, I got some good news though. I may be teaching some students in a tech boot camp
That's
coming up.
cool. If you need me to come in and because I usually I used to do a lot. I guest lecture a lot. So if you need me to do a guest lecture. A couple friends of mine teach at local universities here. And I used to teach at a community college, so I'd be like guest lecturing. So
Oh yeah, baby. I'm definitely gonna need you, man. I'm
That's
definitely
cool,
gonna need you. It's the first time doing something like this.
Yeah, it took me a while. It just takes you a while to just kind of get the hang of it. Like I said, my first one was the cool thing is I used to train at DOD, so for me it wasn't a big leap, but it just took me a kind of little while to get the hang of it. Shout out to Calvin with the 20 views. Hell, some of my videos now only get 20 views. Shout out to my man Keep It Techie. I can tell when Keep It Techie share my stuff, then I get about 500 or 600 when Keep It Techie put me on his 4,000. I get a little bigger, but shout out to Keep It Techie.
Yeah, I gotta do some. I gotta invite Keep It Techie over to my channel and do an interview with him. I have stopped doing interviews with people because I find myself like it's easier for me to get the do the content rather than scheduling somebody to come onto the show and then come up with the interview questions and all that. Like it's the lazy in me, but at the same token, I think people do want to hear from others in the space. So and to give a different perspective. I like to hear everybody else because I'm giving only what I have seen and sharing journeys that I gather over time. But it's good to see other people in the space because I mean when I started doing women in Linux, I did it because I just never worked with a black woman before, and much less any black people. So that's why that's why I started. So now that people are actually really talking about Linux, it's kind of funny. But back in 2008, 2009, 2012, nobody was talking about Linux. In fact, the Linux Academy wasn't founded until 2012, 2015. So it wasn't really something that was very popular.
Just you and Keep It Techie. I've been doing Linux for shit forever, but you and Keep It Techie, the only one I ever see. And especially when you talking about black, it's a smile. The fun thing is we were joking. And I think B2B said and they said, oh, it's a lot of black people. I'm like, no, it's just us, man. Now it looks a little better now because Twitter's bringing a few more, but it's not a ton out there.
No,
yeah, percentage wise, it's low single digits.
Yeah, we all grouped up because we just see each other now on YouTube. It seems like a lot because I think it was me, Gabe, Before the Billions, Max the Million. We each 10 years apart. We all graduated with. We were the only black person. So I'm like, so in 40 years, are we getting any better? If Before the Billions graduated, and I graduated in 1990, and I was the only black person. Then Gabe, I think he's 10 years younger. Then Max the Million's 20. What? Before the Billions, Max like 22.
At that time, he was like, I think he was 22 at that, 22 or 23.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he was 23 at the time when we filmed it.
So yeah, so each one of us, we was the only black. So I'm like, are we getting any better in tech?
I mean, we are, but we're. Let me stop. Let me go. We are.
It's a slow process.
No, but what do we define as tech?
Okay.
Facts. That's a good point. I think some things we do, I don't think I would define as tech. But two is I could be elitist too, and I think I think too when you get a degree, I think that kind of puts you in elitist. So I'm thinking of programmers, infrastructure guys. I don't think I put PMs in there. That's how snooty I am. But
well, I agree. But again, I am I am one of those ones that feel the same way. So, but a lot of people don't feel like that. They're like they're as much as engineers as you are. But I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Nope.
But two, that's to me. I don't know. And to me, and I'm trying to morph into things and change over time. So I'm like, is that me not coming up with the times where we bringing the tech tent and bringing more people in the tech too, right? So yeah, shout out to Textual Chatter. He's definitely in that mix.
And Cal, I saw what Calvin said. He said he passed the rail exam back in 2013 and never used it. I worked on rail systems, uh, but did not apply those skills. But then again, depends on where you worked at too.
Yeah, fine.
Everybody I worked with had we had we had we had to utilize all those skills.
Axel, I don't want none of that, man. Twitter's a little too toxic for me, man. They be taking it to a whole new level.
I'm
Like,
on Women in Linux is on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I am. In fact, I may be doing something with Kelsey Hightower again.
yeah,
I was just
shout out
talking to him
to shout out
I
last
to
just
him.
night
saw, I just saw him speak.
at
Like,
Render.
at Render, yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to do something together at Render, and I was like, Kelsey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that because we had talked about it at CubeCon, and he's like, it's home, it's gonna be us, my mom, my dad gonna be there. We gotta go in and and do our thing. So, we had talked about doing like a joint talk at Render. I just backed out because I was just like, I'm busy. I really don't have that kind of time, but we're gonna get together and we're gonna do something,
Yeah.
and do something that's gonna be real good on for the peoples. we'll,
Yeah.
we'll we'll get together and do something.
Because that was a good talk he had. It was very inspirational.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Well, when he talked on Tim's thing, he was actually talking about I think microservices breaking Java out, and when you break out a microservice, could it scale? So I actually started looking at high performance stuff on AWS to see if I can get it to scale like it was a monolith. So that was an interesting. Like I said, I started looking because they got high computing on AWS. You can do extended networking on AWS to get
Hmm.
speed. Then you can use their networking because they got a bunch of fiber on. So he got me thinking, but I never worked anything on that big a scale where I needed that type of speed, to be honest. But,
Yeah, Tam, I am going to steal your advice and utilize it for my own life because that site reliability engineering is something I'm going to be looking into because I had to make a pivot when it comes to the type of engineering because
that
it's
that it
not
was that is
good.
not showing you any love. Go ahead, go ahead.
It's not showing any love. I had to make a video on it, man. 'Cause actually, I made a video about is data engineering still a marketable skill, and I haven't put it out yet. But essentially, I say the skill is, but the market, at least in Atlanta, is not doing well as far
Well,
as people trying to get jobs in it.
I think it got encompassing with other roles. Because I think, like Tim said, if you site engineer, doing pipelines, I think they're lumping all those together and adding data engineers to it. Same thing. I used to be a DBA. That really doesn't exist anymore. When you can spin up your own AWS to spin up any database you want, and you just really doing a schema and doing a program, and they do all that underlying infrastructure with the backups and everything. So I chime in on that, Tim. I just don't see pure DBAs in the cloud like that anymore. You have some DBA
I mean, well,
skills. I just don't
no,
see
you
them.
don't. You see DBAs, but the DBAs know a variety of
Yeah,
databases.
that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
It's not just one. Oh, I'm really good at Postgres, or I'm really
I,
good at
I'm I'm
MySQL.
I'm Oracle DBA certified. They got me my first bag. So, but like
Yeah,
you said, you don't see. I'm just an Oracle guy
right.
anyway. Yeah,
You are a DBA. You know all databases,
right.
all cloud, on-prem, the
Yeah,
whole nine. So
Hmm.
you encompass all those things. So that's why I was saying with you with data engineering, for you with data engineering, you're gonna have to learn how to pull in other tool sets to shine on it. Like, okay, so what, you created a data lake, and you is it the opposite, and then you go to a data warehouse, or is it a data warehouse and then you go to a data lake? It's the data lake first, then
It's
the
a
warehouse, right?
like first and
data
where?
lake, and then warehouse
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
data.
so
analytics.
all right, so now that you do that, right?
Mhm.
So what am I getting out of that, right?
Mhm.
So you can cleanse the data, all that's automated. You set up the pipeline, okay, that's great. Now what? Oh, well, what I can go a little further is I can give you metrics. I can show you how to utilize that data in this application. So now what you have to show is the ROI on that, right?
Yeah.
If you can't show me the ROI, I can go automate that in the cloud and I don't even need you.
Yep.
Fine.
And
But
I started applying for data scientist roles as well.
mhm,
And that's more so because like really with data engineers, we can do analysis and everything. We can create reports based off of that data that we pull in and
mhm,
but data scientists really shine in LLMs,
mhm,
creating the models and also creating the predictions for companies to be able to use that data um, for their decisions. Like we help set up the infrastructure as data
Yeah.
Yeah.
engineers, but
right.
the data scientists really shine with that actual analysis.
Right, but
Right.
if
Yeah.
you could pull that all together, that's your golden ticket,
Yeah.
and probably slide in site reliability engineer because sounds like you're good at scripting or making scripts that work with the database, like a Python script that
Yep.
interacts with the database or something like a back end solution. That's what that sounds like to me. So I will be looking at your places like your Broadcom, your VMware. I would even look at Nvidia. Those are the places I would look at for that really wants to handle that back end and start working with caching systems and so forth. Now,
Yeah.
here's the other thing, and I'm gonna leave you with this, and you have to come to the meetup so we can talk a little bit more about it because this ain't my show. You need to start looking at the what value does the team that you're interviewing for apply to the bottom line of the company you're going to
Right.
work for. If
Mm.
the team that you're on doesn't contribute to the ROI or the bottom line of that company, don't take that job. If
Mm.
and here's why I say that, because now you're starting to get into I provide value, here's where I can move and groove and so forth. If that's what you're looking for, let me state that, because what I'm saying is if I am on a team that's working towards providing an ROI to an actual company, and they're doing X, Y, and Z, and they need to see results. I know that team is one going to get funding. Two, that team is always going to be in the spotlight. And three, it's my chance to shine. And if you give me the spotlight, I'm taking it all. Right.
Mm.
So that's what those are the questions that you're gonna have to ask in your interviews.
Right. No, that's true. That's a good point.
Mm.
So you don't
Definitely.
want to be on the sideline on a team that's not really going anywhere. Like you gotta this is the thing I always go with. You either a builder or a maintainer. If you're a builder, you coming in and you shifting and you moving things. If you're a maintainer, you just going to butt in the seat.
Yeah.
You know what? When you say that, because I think that's why people got laid off on. Like, really, the whole team is just pretty much gone. From the team I was on, even though all the recruiters use the tool that we created, like every single day, we really were just maintaining. We were like, oh, okay, what's a cost saving measure we could do? Because they stopped pulling up new features for the pipeline. They were like, yeah, they're going to deprioritize these new features and stuff like that. And then they didn't have any work for a little
Yeah.
while.
You
So
need
I
to.
had to create different things.
So you get, and Tim knows this. You should start seeing that proactive, and it's time for you to leave. At DoD as a consultant, you can see when it's coming to an end. So you need to start figuring it out and moving, because sooner or later they're gonna come out. Like Tim said, if you're not hitting the bottom line, that means you're the extra. So once the extra dry up or the profits take a little dip, that's the first thing they're gonna get rid of.
Yeah, because and then a lot of companies are recording record profits despite all these layoffs.
Well, the layoffs
Well, yeah.
The layoffs is causing the record profits, right? Because you cutting
There
all
you
the
go.
expensive. The layoffs is cutting all out, especially that fixed overhead, because that FTE is pretty much fixed. So that's how you get record profits. But two, the sad part is that's built into their model.
Yeah, that's
I appreciate you, Tamika.
Yeah, thank you, Tam.
Thank you, Tim. That's I mean, in my space, man, that's old news, man. Like most people don't realize that on the top end.
Yeah.
All you got to do, because when you look on the the income statement, man, 9 to 10 times the largest item is payroll. So people who don't know how to read the shit, they'll say, "Oh, we got record sales." Now people like me who understand what the fuck is going on be like, "Well, yeah, because you laid off X, Y, and Z, and your expenses went down, but your revenues technically didn't go up." Like I can read that shit. 9 to 10 people they can't. So they don't know. They hearing the government, they hearing these companies, they're saying, "Oh, everything's that's not great, man." There's only 10 in the Fortune 500 companies. There's only 10 companies holding it up. 10 and really 6.
Thanks. But especially in tech, especially when you're talking about BC type stuff, a lot of times is you can have a loss, but if you're growing and having new features, they assign a value that really doesn't make sense because it's projected out, right? People forget that I don't think Facebook didn't make money for a decade, man. They were living off of VC money.
Man, Tesla didn't see a penny of profit until last year.
AWS,
most people don't know that.
AWS, but he was a metric wizard. Amazon wasn't making profits. AWS was making a ton of profits. That's how they bought all them football fields of data center. They used that money for that, right? So they were funding. AWS was funding the whole Amazon. So,
Yep, I heard something like that before.
So, yeah,
because AWS is just everywhere. Everybody uses it. Well, not everybody. Majority of people use AWS.
They print money, but so that's what they used to build all the data centers with. Was that money? And the crazy thing is, they did AWS on a humble because they had excess computer power. Yeah, Calvin, I would definitely be up for interviewing. B2B kind of took me out of the interview game for a minute, so I might get back.
Mm-hmm. PBO, I know we were approaching the 3-hour mark. I don't want to hold you too long, man.
Yeah, I'm about to shut it on down. I'm running on fumes.
Yes, sir.
I think I got an 8:30. I think I might have an 8:30. I gotta look at my calendar.
Oh, but PBO, I got one question for you.
Yeah.
I was telling you that how I'm trying to start up getting more clients in an entrepreneurial sense with building people's websites and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I am preparing for a meeting tomorrow, and I'm running into a issue where I'm like, okay, do I start charging people for my time? Like if I have like a meeting with you, do I have a consultation fee? And how much do I charge for a consultation fee?
Ooh, let me think about that. What type of websites you are you focusing in? Are you trying to do a high niche, or are you trying to do something kind of low budget and scale that up? So I would need a few more information. Me, I don't charge anything less than $50 an hour, but I'm old, and that's pretty cheap. Now, if I'm doing cybersecurity, I probably charge you $100. So depending on the type of business and what I'm doing, because you're a multi-talented guy, I think you need different price rates depending on what you're doing, even inside the bidding website. Because two is sometimes you got to bring their data over. Or you doing a migration from what they got? Or you doing new stuff? So we kind of have to kind of touch on each one of those, I think, to kind of come up with a price point.
$50 an hour it is, man.
Hey, it works for me.
All right. Thank you so much, PBO.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for having me up.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming up. So I'm going to stay for about 2 more minutes and answer some questions. My man, Foley, he asked me this. Where was that at? What would I consider toxic? It's something up your alley, which I thought was different. There was an argument I find it. She was a CCIE, I think it was the top one. They were having a drag out discussion about getting a CCNA and was it adding value. and people were calling her work, saying that she didn't know what she was doing because they were discussing the CCNA to see if it was still valuable. So that's kind of stuff, I mean, on their Axel. I just thought that was, to me, that's way out of pocket. And if you didn't agree with it, that's fine. You didn't have to try to dox her. So I see that, I ain't gonna say a lot, but I see that quite a bit on Twitter, X now. So I don't know, it seems like you can't have a civil discussion on Twitter, but maybe it's just me and who I'm following, man. So let's see. That's my baby. New AWS Anderson. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, man. Actually, so maybe we need to make a trip and go check it out. Facts, I saw that. Appreciate the time we look at making some changes. I appreciate that, Calvin. Oh, I don't know. That's a good call. My bad. PPP be tripping. Yeah, man, they be getting so. So yeah, that's a whole different ball game. I want to appreciate everybody out for joining me. Joining for the 3 hour. I'm glad we came. We kind of pivot off topic a little bit, but I still think it was a great topic. I think maybe once a month I need to stay on this topic and kind of get a panel. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to B2B for joining. Shout out, I know Mike V probably make the next one. Definitely great, good resource. So I might do something like this once a week and kind of jump on that topic. So I appreciate everybody for joining. Please subscribe. You're going to see me out on these cybersecurity streets. ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. You can check my about page on YouTube. I try to check my email at least every 48 hours. Sometimes I'm lazy. I've been struggling the last couple months. I'm just tired on my grind. I need to take a little vacation. Once again, there's a lot of tech out here, a lot of cybersecurity. You've seen on this panel a lot of smart people. Just reach out to any of us. I'm sure we'll help. And you would definitely see us on each other panel. Once again, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me. I'm out. Have a good weekend. Happy Hump Day.